now.
Okay.
Go.
Okay. See, this is good stuff. This is the
You
stuff that the
turning
people
into a
want to hear.
walker, or
I,
fuck?
I was actually turning into a Norris, but anyway.
You're a Capcom fanboy, either way.
I know. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
And now, from the bowels of the internet, it's the Hate-Bit Podcast.
What's up, fuckers? The Hate-Bit Podcast is on the air. Welcome, I'm YELLKAOS. Joining me as always, the absolutely fantastic Alpha Omega Sin.
Keep our planet clean, or I'll fucking kill you. Says Captain Planet.
Sainted Magnus.
Yeah, let's get this shitstorm going. I'm pretty much bored at the moment. Let's entertain my little mind at the moment. Yay.
And the ravishing Razor Fist.
Alright, bitches, got fucking speed, and let's cram our entire arm up to the shoulder into this mountain of Triceratops shit.
Now that's a big pile of shit.
Yes!
Here, Malcolm, Jurassic Park.
I was hoping
1992.
one of you would do that. Yes! Fold the sunglasses and say that. Yes.
Yes. And you too will need great big gloves for this show. Welcome to our show. You know, we got a lot to talk about, and we'll tell you where to get those great big gloves just in case, you want to grab a hold, dig in real deep. Anyway, we got a whole bunch going now. We're going to be talking about EA and some of their stupid shit. We're going to be talking about thank you. We got some discussion about the the amazing Resident Evil 6. We got a video game circle jerk coming on, which Razor Fist. That's right. That kind of thing. Classy stuff right here on the Hate-Bit Podcast. And now, you know what we're going to do? First, we're going to do our usual thing. We're going to have a little bit of a discussion because there has been some news that former IGN employees who chose not to be identified did admit that IGN.com for years now have had reviews for sale or in favor of public relations. And I know, just shocked and appalled. Now, we started saying this, about 20, 25 years ago, something like that. So, but it's nice to see it make it into the news.
Yeah, it's nice for them to actually acknowledge it.
I
In
know.
other news, the sky tends to be blue of pigment. Yes.
It's
Look, it's a genuinely important story because it sort of verifies what we've all been indicating for so long. Like, I mean, God, ever since I started my show, I've been talking about it. So that's at least 3 years, and that's in the public eye, quote unquote. You know, reviews are bought and paid for, but I've always felt like it's a much more subtle thing than the image that everyone has, of like a backroom deal with two people just, handing over palmfuls of cash. It isn't like that. It's much more subtle. It's, yes, the games that have the fully animated flash advertisements on the site for a month straight tend to get 9 to 10 scores, And yes, the games that only have, one ad campaign for all of a week, they tend to have lower scores. Gosh, I wonder if there's a direct relationship there.
Well, we're not detectives, but we do smell something.
Yep.
Absolutely.
It ain't something nice.
Like a perfect example, Mass Effect 3. I mean, what was it? Like a month straight of full-page flash advertisements on IGN?
I'm the rest.
Yeah, and then there's the small matter of one of their journalists being cast in the fucking game,
just a teeny bit of bias there.
Yeah, just a smidge of bias there. And then they turn around and give the game, I think it was the highest score on any mainstream outlet, 9.5 out of 10. And conversely, like a month later, Silent Hill Downpour comes out, which I genuinely enjoyed. It's probably the best Silent Hill game in a long, long time. One ad campaign for a week or less, 4.5 out of 10 they give it. So, yeah, good times.
Yeah, and it's bad because this, everybody sees as, well, that's just IGN, and no, it's not just IGN. IGN is, one of the most prominent of the bunch, but it's not just IGN. This goes and resonates out towards, all similar outlets of where you can get your news and your reviews and your previews online, but this stretches into like, editorials, it stretches on into, videos, it stretches into actual shows. It's really fucked up to think about the number of different things that people swear by the opinion of are pretty much just opinions that were bought.
Yeah, and it's also, they give people perks. They give reviewers perks. Anybody else watched any of Jim Sterling's unboxing of special editions? And he winds up breaking out something that is for reviewers only. Have you ever seen that? It's like, oh, and this bust is just for me. Sorry, guys. Oh, and this fully capable top of the line gaming PC that I'm going to play the game on. Sorry, that was given to me by Bethesda. That's just for daddy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that kind of shit happens all the time, and it's like, gosh, I can trust your opinion.
Yeah, and how could they honestly say something bad whenever they're being handed over hundreds and sometimes thousands of dollars worth of free shit just to give it a thumbs up? Because that's the entire deal is, all right, we give you this, you say it's cool, but we're good, all right, awesome. So then all the fucking idiots that sit there and actually take that opinion, as an actual fact, will suddenly be like, oh my god, it must be really great. Run out and they spend all their money getting said product. And if it is shit, well, they won't ever say otherwise because, well, they were told what to think. And that's what they will think, and that's what they will
and
go
plus
and tell
by
everyone.
that point they've already wasted money, so there's an added incentive to pretend it's great.
Mm.
Because you never want to believe you wasted money on a piece of shit.
Oh,
No,
absolutely not.
that's exactly true. But with this article, it kind of just brings up many questions whether you can actually trust these publications or these websites now. What? Yeah, it's all well and good, where the average Joe is making a review, or, sometimes it might be good reviews, sometimes it might be bad reviews, but most of the reviews you find on YouTube are opinion-based, which is the best kind of review, because you can watch 2 or 3 different reviews and get a general understanding of what to look for in the game. You see IGN, GameSpot, or all of these sorts of websites, and they keep throwing out the 9s. Are they true or not? That's like I said, you're going to be questioning whether you can trust these sites. And if I see another Jim Sterling unboxing, I swear I'm going to hit my head against the nearest fucking tree.
The last Jim Sterling unboxing I want to see is at his at his funeral. That's it. That should be
you mean
very
where
last.
he climbs in the box and
Yeah, that'd be a
himself.
reboxing.
Well, how about this? Okay, whenever he's in there and they're just like, "Is he really dead?" They open it up, look, unboxing, and then they close it, and that's it.
No,
Yeah,
they
they'll
just shoot
they'll have-
Casket.
They just shoot
how many
him square in the face.
I'm sorry, what?
Shoot him square in the face with a shotgun. That'll do us all a favor.
Yeah,
And
we'll
call
get his
him Kurt
casket made
Cobain.
by Carbine Studios.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they'll have to have, what, 5 tractors running to lower this fucker into the ground? How is it going to work exactly?
No. We've procured a nuclear submarine, and they're gonna back it up slowly.
No. I've got a better idea. 7 tractors, and each and every one of them is chained to the very foundations of the earth. That's what I'm thinking.
I don't know why, but I started thinking of the one summon from Final Fantasy, Titan, where he lifts up like all that ground and everything, and he's like struggling and shitting himself to get Sterling up. And he's like, "God fucking damn it, a diet, you son of a bitch, a diet."
Or the Ifrit GF from Final Fantasy VIII, where he lifts up the entire earth.
Yeah.
We could
Well,
get Neo Bahamut, where he lifts up that big part of the fucking land and then just blast it to pieces, and then
There's a lot
we're
of
like
lifting.
PewDiePie.
There's a lot of lifting land with these summons in Final Fantasy. Somebody's got. I don't know.
I feel there's too much hassle put on Jim Sterling on this show. I mean, you have to think the man has done so much in his life. Really, I mean, he used to work in the educational field. Did you know that?
What, teaching
Educating
what?
what?
How to eat a
Yeah,
burger?
No, he worked with children at an elementary school. He was the Earth Ball.
That's true. That's true. I remember that.
Yeah. He's a real humanitarian, this guy. But anyway, video game websites have been for sale. Yeah.
So here,
Breaking
and
news.
this is a main example of something else. If anybody remembers GameSpot, whenever the whole Kane and Lynch debacle went down, that was one of the biggest fucking deals right there, because you had a person that their opinion didn't get bought. They gave their genuine opinion. They got fucking fired. And that's the kind of shit that they're dealing with. And if you remember, their fucking website was absolutely plastered beyond belief.
Well, they had a
with ads and
contest going. Yeah, they had a contest going. You not only did they have banner ads and stuff on the site, you could literally wallpaper the entire website with Kane and Lynch with a click of a button.
Yeah.
Like, it was so transparent, it's not even funny. And he gives this game the shitty review that it absolutely deserved, because that game's awful. And boy, the same people are making the new Hitman game. I'm sure that'll be great.
Well, have you
wanna
seen
know
the
what?
collector's edition unboxing on YouTube?
Oh
God.
boy!
Yay! There's an
And here's-
unboxing about 3 weeks before the game's due. Fuck's sake.
There's one thing, and if anybody is listening to this, and for whatever reason that you can't put two and two together, and you think that we might be, just full of a little bit of shit, think about this. Okay, if they really were just like not bought and paid for, and they really did give their honest opinions about these games that they are getting all that advertising money for, once they go and do that, they'll never see all those advertisements again. They'll never see that money again, and then all of a sudden that site is going to have a reputation for being too honest. Oh shit, well, I don't know if I want to advertise my stuff there, because I fully do not believe in this product, so kind of fuck that. You're not going to give it the A+ review, the 10 out of 10 that we were looking for. So it makes sense at the end of the day. And having somebody come forth from IGN and really just saying, yeah, it is what you all thought, it's kind of nice. Sad, but nice.
Well, Mr. Omegason, you kind of made that seem like it's all just a simple process of, business and not doing business, working off of business reputations. I pictured the whole, a bunch of mob guys sitting around with thin mustaches, like, okay, you're going to give it a good review, right? Yeah, because you're a good fellow. You know what's good for your family, and fuck you and your journalistic integrity.
Suitcases filled with money and mustaches being twirled.
Well, can I just put it this way? They're not fucking drug deals. They're game reviews. Just review the game. If it's a shit game, give it a shit score. Just don't.
Yeah, and in a lot of cases,
yeah, go on. Just go for it.
in a lot of cases, that's what happens. Actually, in the article that we're referring to, that actually sort of created this story, they discuss the fact that a lot of these reviewers will write a proper unbiased review, and then the review editor will go in after the fact and assign an arbitrary number ranking that's much higher than the review would indicate. And then they might go back through and change some of the text to soften some of the wording, which is how you end up with a lot of these reviews where have you ever read a review of a game and you get the feeling like the reviewer is trying to tell you something?
Yeah.
It's a positive review, but it's almost like somebody's hitting behind the glass, like, oh my god, don't play this game, please. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
the
how
little
you find
secret messages all strewn throughout it. And it's just
There's
this is code.
There's a lot of those. They use a lot of double speak. A lot of words that can mean more than one thing. You know what I mean? So it's like,
I don't want to say this game sucks. I really don't. However,
exactly.
You can tell a lot of them there is a gun pressed to somebody's temple. Like, what do you mean an 8.5? Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah,
honestly, it makes me feel kind of bad though. Somebody that goes into this field professionally on some kind of level, and then all of a sudden, they get sat down, and it's like, okay, well, you have to be a bitch now. You have to write the way that we want you to write.
Do right, tell a story, and report the news, and no, it ain't like that at all, son.
And that's what I'm saying is, in a lot of cases, they don't sit them down and do that. What they do is they let them do their thing, they spin their wheels, and then the editor comes in and goes, okay, here's what you're really going to say, and goes through and kind of changes it. And that's at least what the article said. And then there's the simple fact that if you look at the way games are scored on the 1 to 10 point system, they've been skewed over the years. A bad game now is 5 out of 10 or 6 out of 10. And it's a great game.
And that's supposed to be the
9 out of
middle
10.
of the road.
Yeah, middle of the road now is 7 or 8 out of 10. It's like, and that is purely because of things like Game Informer or whatever, where they want to sell more games for GameStop, or because simply put, if they give a higher number score, they're gonna get more ad campaigns on their site, and they're gonna get more money. Simple as that.
Yeah, there should be a translator code for this. IGN, in fact, any of those scores are now on a scale of 1 to 15. Then you'll get a real fucking score. Honestly, add
Exactly.
5 more points to that score, and those will become a lot more honest overnight.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, you know what? I'm glad we had that talk. There's just one Razorfist I got to ask you. We got a problem here. Everything that we've been saying, everything you've been saying for years is now out in the open and true and so on. Now what are we going to do?
I think now comes the butt sex. So I believe that's plan B.
I knew it would come to this. I just expected it to be this soon. Anyway, that was a good talk. I'm glad we had a good talk about that. Yeah, everybody's full of shit, up to and including us. But please give us your money. And you know what? It's time for the Hate-Bit Cuntbag. And this week's Hate-Bit Cuntbag is brought to you by Silent Rob's Irate Gamer Repellent. Because, well, fuck that guy. Anyway, we got some mail coming to us here at hatebitpodcast@gmail.com. And if you have a question, a comment, a concern, a query, anything at all, please drop us a line at hatebitpodcast@gmail.com. Also look out for us on facebook.com, and you can always drop us a line right here on YouTube. Anyway, our first... .com. That's right. Thank you.
Sorry, I
Thank
had
you,
to throw that in there.
That's all right. For some people it might be DE, but we're not in Germany. But our first piece of mail comes to us at hatebitpodcast@gmail.com from Cody Rivera.
Hello.
And Cody Rivera, I'm terribly sorry. I was supposed to call him Conky Dong 64.
Oh, dear.
Yes. Well, Conky Dong 64 says, I truly hate when awesome games get canceled after trailers and gameplay footage are released and is just scrapped for reasons unknown. My game that I wanted to be released was Harker, and after awesome trailer of the game was released, a month later it was canceled with no official reason posted. My question is, what games were you looking forward to and were suddenly canceled and scrapped and were never heard from again? Thank you guys for your podcast. You guys are awesome. Keep the hate alive.
Yeah.
Nothing really springs to mind that I can think of.
I can think of the, and this is purely for fillative fanboy purposes, but the Daredevil game that was teased in 2003 that was supposed to come out for PS2 looked really good, actually. There's footage of the game in action on YouTube. Had some ugly graphics, but whatever, it was on PS2. What are you gonna do? And but it was it was interesting looking. You had radar vision. It looked like it was open world, and you were running around daredeviling, I guess. And it just looked it looked bitchin' as fuck. And then one day it was like 2 years later. I was like, wait a minute, whatever happened to that game? Did they ever make it? And I read up on it, and it was canceled. So I don't know what the fuck happened. I think it was THQ too. So what are you gonna do?
THQ cancel everything nowadays.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, last week they canceled Paychecks.
Oh.
I think the only one that really stands out, it just sprung to mind just now, was the Death Clock game, the Metalocalypse game that was supposed to come out. And I was waiting to hear about it, and then someone just brought it to my attention about a week or so ago that it was in fact canceled. It's like, oh, well, that's a shame.
I don't know. I saw screenshots of it, and it looked like shit.
Well, I wasn't really breaking my balls to play it, but, it sprung to mind. I said, hey, what the hell,
I can think of a lot, but I'll let Saint Magnus go before
I can't think of any, to be fair, because most of the games I won't usually actually
fiber.
All right, well, here, ones that I can think of, one that I had heard about just a couple months ago and was pretty shocked to hear about it was Legend of Dragoon 2. For anybody that got the opportunity to play Legend of Dragoon, it's a fantastic game. Really, really good. Extremely underrated, too. Just didn't get no love whatsoever. And weird because it's a first-party Sony title. But, yeah, they were making a part 2 and canceled it. It was going to be on PS1 as well. Beyond that, there's the infamous Resident Evil 1.5, which is the original build of Resident Evil 2, which is very, very different from the one that we got, but it's something people have been clamoring to get their hands on for years. Earthbound 64, and that was a title I was really looking forward to, and it just never came out. I was just like, what the fuck? I was so excited when I heard about it originally, and it just It didn't happen. It kind of sucks. And the last one is Thrill Kill, another PS1 game.
Yeah,
And
I'd have to agree with you on that one actually.
It technically came out though. If anybody got to see the game Wu-Tang Clan Shaolin style, that's technically Thrill Kill, just with rappers instead. But the original build of it, you can get an ISO of it online. They have it everywhere. If you have a PlayStation 1 emulator, go download like PSXE or EPSXE or PSX Fin or whatever the fuck, just any PlayStation emulator and go check it out because it is a lot of fun. But and it's a complete game. That's what's fucked up. It's a complete game and just never came out. Kind of sucks. But yeah, those were ones that I just thought of.
Yeah, the only one I
Anything,
can
Sandy?
really think of is that actual Thrill Kill, and that was only because you reminded me of it. But
Yeah,
yeah, it was a good game. I actually had a chipped PS1, and I got it for imports and games that never got released, and that was one of them that I picked up, and it was just fantastic. I still love the cannibal with the severed leg where you could beat the snot out of people with it. That was just fantastic. And what was that? Belladonna, was it? The girl, the nurse with the cattle prod.
Yeah.
One of her kill moves was actually she stuck the cattle prod down your throat and blew you up from the inside with it.
No, and they also had like some of the funniest endings I had ever seen in a game, just for fighting games and everything. I mean, the game's already very out of hand. You know, you have a no-armed dude, you have a midget on stilts and everything, you have dominatrix and shit like that. So, but it was too risque and everything, and they were really hammering down on games back then. But yeah, at least it still lives on through the internets, and you can also check out a ton of videos online of it. But yeah, it's a shame a lot of really cool stuff ends up getting canceled, especially when it's like a complete game. So it's like for no reason this game is now canceled. It's just silly. And and the 15 builds of Duke Nukem Forever that never came out. I would like to have tried those out.
I'm very impressed. That was a very impressive list for being, sort of off the cuff. Did you have like a leather bound, novelette or something like, yes, that fucking game and that fucking game and that fucking game?
Yeah,
shit
he
you not,
dusted off. He dusted off the day planner. He was like, "All right."
It was the file effects, yay!
It's weird because when there's a website that I go to, it's called Unseen64. Don't know if any of you are familiar with it, but they specialize in betas and unreleased games. And I frequented that site for years and years now, and I always check it out. And I don't know why it's always interested me what games have taken out, what they used to be before the final build, or what got canceled and everything like that. So there's just a lot of stuff I found ROMs for. I've looked up gameplay footage of. It's just, I don't know, it's something I fancy. So that's why I could think of the stuff like immediately.
It sounds like kind of like a deleted scenes on a DVD, something. It's that kind of
yeah.
site. Yeah.
It is pretty neat though, and for anybody listening, if that's some of the shit that you're ever interested in, check out the site. I mean, it's not too bad. I dig it if that's the kind of shit that you're into. I'm a fucking nerd though, so that's why I'm like I'm gonna obsessively look up all this kind of shit because I'm that into it. So.
Yay! What's next? What's next, boy?
Excellent.
Come on.
What's next? Well, we got more mail here. We got more mail, as a matter of fact, Mr. Magnus, and
We have American mail.
We have American mail.
American mail.
As long as it's not Royal Mail, because that takes about 2 weeks and then they lose something in the post.
That's a shame. Yes. Good thing you're paying attention, Saint Magnus. We appreciate you. Anyway, we got some mail coming to us here at the YouTube inbox, and it comes from user Cubo Disco. And he says, I have something radical for you. I know, it's funny, isn't it? He says, I have something radical for you, hate-bit gentlemen. Gentlemen, where? Oh, well, anyway. He says, why couldn't the last generation of video games, meaning PlayStation 2, GameCube era, be the one that lasts for at least 7 years? Would it be better or worse off lasting longer? What are your thoughts on this?
Much
how
worse.
long? I think so. Razorfist, can you shed some light on this? How long was that generation? I can't remember off the top of my head.
It started about 99?
1999 till about 2000.
It's like the Dreamcast, actually, right?
2004, I would say.
2007, actually.
2007? No, maybe the PS2 because they were launching, every new Madden game still on the PS2. But I don't know.
I think 13 on the PS2.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's still it just No, it ended in 2004. It ended in 2004.
They still had
and
some.
then
Yeah, they still had some AAA titles in 2004. So
Will you say it ended before the Xbox 360's launch?
that's what I'm saying. I would say the
Okay.
360's launch in 2005 was the end of the whatever numbered console generation. I don't give a fuck.
I disagree. I'd say at a push 2006.
Well, just for the sake of argument,
What killer app came out in 2005 or 2006 for any of these systems?
God of War.
God,
God of War was a killer app for the PlayStation 2. The Xbox still had some good games on it. I'm sure you can name half of them.
I don't know, honestly.
No,
But I don't know. I'm
Now
just
you don't
mentioning-
Generation 6 ended in 2006, 2007. That's
okay.
the-
So, but
that's
to be
dynamite.
safe, that's about 7 years. Would you say that was too long?
that was.
Yeah.
I think it was too long for some of the systems. Like Microsoft bailed out of the 360 completely by 2007, 2006. So I think that was as long a lifespan as it needed. When did it launch? Like 2000, 2001, something like that.
The Xbox 2001.
Yeah. So whatever. It got 5 or so years of life out of it. So that's fine. That's about as long as a console needs to have a life cycle, I would say. But so, I do know Sony like extended the lifespan of the PS2 super long because they're dedicated to the 10-year lifespan.
Well, when did they discontinued that thing yet?
I don't think they're still making any units for it anymore. I think they're just trying to get rid of stock. But I know they're still making games.
Are they still making? So some software companies are still supporting the PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
Okay, well then I have to say to you, Cubo Disco, how much more do you want? They still make PlayStation 2 games.
Yeah, but they're
Yeah,
mostly like your EA titles, so like your Maddens, your
Well, like
FIFA,
FIFA?
stuff like that.
Ah,
Here's my problem. I have a problem with people saying, and this happens a lot, simultaneously saying, well, the last console generation was better, which number one, I think it wasn't actually.
No.
I think this console generation toward the beginning was much better than the one that preceded it. And I think the console generation before it was better, as a matter of fact. But I have a problem with people saying that console generation should have gone on and whatever, and then turning around and bashing the Wii. It's like the Wii is a last gen console, like technically speaking. It's just got a motion sensor on it. Like it's such a stupid, just drooling double standard that I've always had a problem with, and it happens a lot.
No, you're right there. You're actually right. You see, it's like the Wii U. All that is to me is a Wii HD.
wait. Are we gonna get into this faggoty semantics discussion again?
But I'm just stating an opinion, which supports the whole Wii's topic. So stop cutting me off and let me finish my point off. Thank you. He's just slammed his mic down.
Who invited this guy again?
Ask the same
I
question
don't
to yourself. Joke.
We held a summit and he just showed up.
Actually,
They held someone and no one else showed up.
I came as the T-boy and then they actually gave me a job. There we go. No,
And then we threw all your tea into the ocean.
yes, and then we threw you in after.
Continue.
Yeah, so it's the same thing with the Wii U. That's basically this gen console. It's not a next gen console. Most people will paint it as that, but it's not. And I support Razor Fist in the fact that last generation wasn't exactly the greatest. Yeah, it had some notable titles, but which generation hasn't had notable titles? So my favorite generation in terms of disc-based will always be the PlayStation, Saturn, and 64 era because that was just fantastic.
Well, one thing I want to say, I want to say something good about the previous generation, which was the 6th generation, as far as I know.
Yeah.
One thing I want to say good is, while it might have been lacking in general in terms of both hardware and software, depending on what side of which fence you were on, I think it set this generation up to absolutely dominate.
Mm.
And the
That's
first part
true.
of this generation was able to fucking dominate. The worldwide economy was there. The marketing firms and public relations groups were at their prime. Everything seemed to fire. And then, of course, all the companies that led the way during this console generation led everyone down the primrose path for about 2, 3, 4 years, and then turned around and shot everybody in the fucking face. So that's kind of what happened with this generation. But if you can say
Yeah,
anything good about the last generation, it set this one up to dominate, which it did.
I
I would
think
say the last generation, my favorite console. Now, yeah, it might come as a surprise, the GameCube, because the GameCube was, yeah, it had its flaws, but it had a charm. The PlayStation
Oh yeah,
2 is a good console. The Xbox is also a good console. The last generation, we were spoiled in terms of hardware.
but the last generation they were still video games. This last generation
yeah.
allowed this generation to be, there is not one fucking household with a decent sized television that doesn't have a video game console already. It became a
Here's
standard this
here's why
generation.
I stand by my criticism of the last console generation, because you're right. They did set up this console generation, but they set up this console generation to get fat and lazy. And more than that, and I've said this for years,
Absolutely, absolutely.
I've said this for years. More than that, they got fat and lazy in the last console generation, and you can see it in titles like Final Fantasy X. You can see it in Final Fantasy X-2. You can see it in Metal Gear Solid 2. You can see it in a lot of the big titles. They were starting to get lazy and get really cinematic, and they thought they were more important than they were. They started to realize they didn't have to spend as much time making a genuinely compelling story, that the brands themselves would carry these titles. Didn't happen in every case, but it started to happen increasingly. And I think they carried this logic over to this generation, and that's when the problems happened, because it was like, wait a minute, you're only giving me better graphics here. This is the same game.
Oh
You know
yeah,
what I
well
mean?
and during this generation, those same people, for some reason, somehow totally missed the concept that they're, like you were saying, they feel they're bigger than they are. Missed the entire concept that video games, which is what they're a part of, is an industry completely driven by expendable income.
Mm-hmm.
And when expendable income went away, brought this industry to its knees. And
Yep.
I agree with you. You're right. The last one did allow this generation to get fat and happy and just kind of sit on their laurels, and no one was exempt from it. Everybody that makes video games right now has turned out a fair amount of shit. Some more than others. But if we sat
THQ.
here and nitpick the whole, exactly. Who, as you know, are canceling paychecks. But
Yeah.
so yeah, good talk, but
Good talk.
it's sad too. No, I think that the last generation got exactly as long as it needed to be. I think people are more just nostalgic for having games they liked more so than what was better overall.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, the
And
last generation set up a lot of gamers in this, that
Yeah, I
was.
think that's part of it. I think a part of it is nostalgia. Look, I mean, if we were to go back and objectively assess a lot of the NES titles that got us into gaming, I'm sure if we were objective about it, we would see a lot of flaws that, other people see. You know what I mean? That we're sort of incapable of seeing, because we have so many, fond feelings for that period, I think.
Yeah.
But
yeah, but you can't lose sight of that. That's what's important, is to like what you like, but never lose sight of the overall picture.
What's
Because
your
there's a lot of people who did, and a lot of people who are not as well off as they once were.
What about Alpha? What's he got to say on the whole thing?
Personally, I think that everything got set up a little bit earlier than last gen, but that's just me. I think the PS1 era really started the entire boom. Because, I mean, gaming was big, but during that era, the PlayStation N64, it
I
just.
think that was the initial taste of what could become.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's just like, the PS2, it is impressive for how long it went on for. I do feel that it went on for a bit too long. Like, for instance, right now.
To be fair, it is still a DVD player.
Yeah, ultimately, at the end of the day, you're only going to remember console life cycle for what games are on it. You're not going to give a shit about what the hardware was able to do, because chances are most of those features are going to be outdated by the time you decide to go and relive it and become nostalgic about it. You're not going to give a shit that can do, X, Y, and Z, because you already have like limitless products that already do that, currently. But you know, PS2 love it, Xbox love it, GameCube love it. Really good gen. This gen, Razorfist was right. Started off really fucking strong, and then just, I don't know what the fuck happened. Like a number of factors came in, just
2008 was just like a wall. They just hit a wall in 2008. And has there been a worse year for gaming than 2008? I mean,
2008.
2008 was a terrible year for gaming. Like, just painful. But yeah.
No, it was pretty bad, but you know, Saint had brought up like his favorite era was the PS1 era, and I have to go and agree with that because that's like, I mean, granted, you know, we were all much younger whenever that era was going on, but it's just like so many landmark titles were coming out, and you had like a new company stepping into the ring and giving everybody what for. Sega was still making hardware. Not very well by comparison to the competition, but they were still making hardware. Though if you said that in Japan, you'd probably get stoned. And I don't mean getting high. I mean literally stoned.
Damn!
But yeah,
God damn
sorry,
it.
not in a good way. But yeah, I don't know. Those are just random little tidbit opinions.
Oh, that's all right then. But well,
Good talk.
yeah.
Good talk.
So if you know, like I picked my favorite generation, what are your guys' favorite generations? You know, just
Yeah, folks, tell us in the comment section your favorite generation and why, because we read all the comments and we love to hear a compelling argument and definitely a conversation starter.
and if you say something dumb, we'll take you out.
Well, we have to. I think that's the law.
It's a given.
And yeah, it's a given. So anyway, well, that was good, and that was the Hate-Bit Cuntbag, and please join us again next week for another edition of the Hate-Bit Cuntbag. Once again, brought to us by Silent Rob's Irate Gamer Repellent. Let me see. Oh, and now on to the news. Big news, big breaking news. Electronic Arts, you know, the dashing, you know, gamer protectors they are, accidentally gives away thousands of free games last week. For more, we go to Alpha Omega Sin. Alpha?
Yeah, so all right, so Electronic Arts are, I mean, we already give them enough shit. I mean, everybody pretty much gives them a ton of shit. But so if you are a PC owner and you frequent any Electronic Arts games, well, it just so happens Origin, which is the little store for all the EA games and everything, they accidentally gave out codes that, you know, you could go and redeem a game for, and a lot of those codes you could just keep redeeming games over and over again to the point that you could just buy the store. Everything that they had on there you could download, and it wasn't going to cost any extra. So it's like a buy one get everything free sale, and they gave away thousands of games, like tens of thousands of games. It became utterly ridiculous, and it's fucking funny to think about. You know, one of the greediest fucking companies, one of the ones that treats their employees like absolute dog shit, has ran countless fucking franchises into the dirt without even blinking or skipping a beat, and here they are, you know, just basically giving everything away accidentally. The downside to it is that you can't do that anymore. I think it was only able to happen for like a day or so.
Yeah.
But within that one day or so, news gets around pretty fucking fast on the internet. And yeah, they lost a whole ton of shit. So huzzah.
You can just imagine the guy that did that. He went, "Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs." Sorry,
I mean, and
that.
He was Barney Gumble?
You must have been.
And you mainly have to thank the site Reddit. So if anybody's on Reddit frequently, especially within the gaming section of it, then you may have stumbled across it, assuming that you're on it on a daily basis, because that's where news was mainly breaking up. So for anybody in US and Canada, yeah, they got tons of free shit, and Electronic Arts was extreme sad face times 10.
But I just love this. I mean, this might sound like if I were to cut out, you know, certain words, it would be Electronic Arts gives away thousands of free games, like they care. But they had to make an accident for anyone to actually benefit from the services they provide.
Still funny.
Still funny. I mean, you know, I'm sure they're going to make some sort of big deal about, you know, the loss involved, but you realize that these people simply got a bunch of air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're still not actually stealing anything. You just
There's gonna be some crying. Someone's gonna lose their job, and there's gonna be there's gonna be consumer disappointment, and there's gonna be disappointment in the stock market because someone stole some air.
Which is
But the
bad
thing is,
because we
it's not even
talked about-
stealing.
Well, we talked about. I mean, their stock price is barely $1 over the minimum that they need to remain listed. So something
Which
like this could be very, very costly. I mean, these are the kind of headlines the stockholders don't want to keep seeing.
Well, true, but how did this happen? This is the kind of shit. This is the kind of shit you would expect from an office temp with a bad fucking attitude, not guys who know what they're doing.
Since when have VA ever known what they're doing, though?
I know, no kidding. Have you played Star Wars: The Old Republic? Are you familiar with this concept?
No, but
Are
I
they
played
still
Road
fucking on
Rash and I
about
could
that?
live. I may not have played Star Wars: The Old Republic, but I played Road Rash, and I can dream, can't I?
Yeah.
So EA is, like we said before, folks, they're not looking out for you. But you can catch them slipping every once in a while. So make sure to stay tuned to Reddit. And stay tuned to the Hate-Bit podcast. Hopefully we have more news like that. Good news, like fucking over major corporations. There's nothing quite like it.
Yeah.
And getting free games that you probably
And-
want to have wanted to pay for anyway.
I know, exactly. It's probably. I mean, let's be honest. It's very recent EA stuff, so nobody won in this encounter. I want that to be very clear. But a bunch of bandwidth was soaked up for a great duration. That's ultimately.
Hey kids, you win a nice shiny copy of Mass Effect 3, the game that's been marked down to $10 just a few months after its launch.
Yeah.
Right.
For an extra $2.95, we'll come to your house and pee in your mouth.
Yay!
Hey,
Sadly,
anyway.
it's still worth more.
Hey kids, you get to bend over and spell run.
17 years later, still funny. Be careful with that joke, though. It's an antique.
Yep.
Let me see here. Oh, you know what? We got more breaking news. Breaking news right here now. Mr. Alpha Omega Sin and myself, we've had a lot to say about on the subject in the recent weeks, but I just thought I'd spell it out for a lot of people who don't know. But the people for the ethical treatment of animals are a bunch of attention-seeking whore bags. If you didn't know that, we've received lots of mail and lots of personal messages here on the YouTube what we think about the situation. They're a bunch of fucking assholes who don't care about you, and I'm not really sure what they care about because they haven't really done anything to stop, meat. I think that's what they're against, and they haven't done anything to stop that. So I'm not clear what the situation is there, but I do know. I was reading this morning on, I think, GoNintendo.com that Nintendo is considering litigation and charging defamation on their behalf for the Pokemon Black and Blue. Anybody else hear about that?
Oh yes.
I hope so, and I hope they
They
win. PETA keeps doing this to try and grab a quick headline, and somebody's got to smack them on the snout and say no, bitch.
I think we
Yeah,
should
and-
do more than smack them on the snout. Come on.
And the thing is, this is the second time that they've done it. And I already pointed out, is it a fucking coincidence that with Super Mario, they're complaining about the Tanuki suit, which the Tanuki suit was around since Super Mario 3. They're complaining about Pokemon, which it was at the height of its popularity in the late 90s.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're now just getting
Yeah.
the memo for a formula that hasn't fucking changed since then.
Yeah, right.
And they're
Pokemon
doing this on the
promotes-
release of games for both of those franchises. That's what's ironic.
Right.
It's kind of weird.
Pokemon promotes animal cruelty. Way to like position yourselves at the fucking vanguard of the digitized violence movement. But yeah, guys, did you happen to notice? And I'm just thinking out loud here, the outright fictitious murder and decapitation depicted in other games. Like, for fuck's sake, you can ride your horse uphill until he literally drops fucking dead in Skyrim and Oblivion. Then you can ride the fucking corpse to the bottom of the mountain like a motherfucking tobogganist, okay?
You can.
I'd
Yep.
tell you to blow it out your ass, but you'd probably try to sue me for promoting donkey fellation. Fucking asshole.
Yeah.
This is a poorly veiled attempt on PETA's part to secure a headline, like I said, and by association, they're trying to secure your fucking cash because they subsist on this shit. I've seen fucking Victoria's Secret camisoles that weren't this fucking transparent. They are just flat out trying to get their name in papers so people will donate more money. That's all it
Well,
is.
that's very. I've already grasped that. I've been aware of that for quite some time. But Razor Fist, you're a real smart guy. Can you tell me something?
What's that?
What is it that PETA does?
I believe they stand outside of KFCs and scowl at people for a living.
Oh, I see. Oh, wait. Oh, I know what they do. They're ones that go in front of, like, barbecue restaurants with fat girls in cages.
Did I tell you about the PETA, the clipped-haired, mean-faced, bull-dyke PETA spokes chick I shut down outside of a KFC once?
No, please tell me all about it.
Everybody wants to hear.
This should be an interesting story.
I'm walking
This is
outside.
going to go viral, like, any minute now.
Oh,
So I'm on my lunch break, right, at where I was working at the time. This was like 3 or 4 years ago.
you eat
And
lunch?
I'm walking outside a KFC. I got a big old. They have these really good chicken, like grilled chicken sandwiches over there. And I'm so starving, and I have 15 minutes for a lunch break, so I'm like down in this thing while I'm walking out the door. And this bull dyke is standing outside because I guess there was some controversy about living conditions for chickens or something, and she had a sign, and there were 2 other chicks, but they weren't even paying attention. They were looking the other way. And she's like 300 pounds after a 3-week fasting binge. And like, she's looking at me like scowling a hole through my head. And I'm like, oh, great. I'm like, oh, I'm just going to eat this right in front of you. I don't give a shit. It was like, so I'm walking past her and she's like, don't eat the chicken. I'm like, what? She's like, don't eat the chicken. I'm like, well, I'm afraid I'm a little ahead of you here. And she's like, no, there's bad living conditions for the chicken. And just then, like a bolt from the blue, her cell phone goes off. And I'm like, yeah, what about the bad living conditions of the underage slaves in China that built your cell phone? And then I walk off. And her jaw.
Bravo!
Bravo.
Applause! Lots and lots of those of you at home, applaud!
Clap, clap, clap.
I wish we had an applause sign on that. Somebody give me a notation. Somebody give me one of those annotations. Applause right now. Thank you.
Bing. There you go.
I appreciate that. That's quite a story. Yeah, yeah. Well, it's always interesting when they say that. You shouldn't eat it because, like, me not eating it is not going to make it any less dead.
Well, once it's in the fucking burger, it's a bit too fucking late, isn't it, really?
Yeah, but from the same argument you get from the people who cut the meat, like, oh yeah, this meat's real fresh. How fresh could it be? It's dead.
And speaking of living conditions, it's just going to go in a toilet.
Yep.
So what the fuck does it matter? And
yeah,
that
I'm more
seems like
interested in
pretty
its
pissed about
dying
living
conditions myself.
I'm just happy that it's been fried. It's got breadcrumbs around it. It's in between 2 pieces of bread with a slab of mayonnaise on top. That's me happy.
Oh, but they could kill them in a humane way, but they don't kill them. They feel more pain. It's like, good. I want them to feel pain. I'm paying for their pain, for Christ. I hope I'm eating a special cow that has extra pain receptors in its brain, so it feels twice the pain.
I want to know
Adds to
how
the flavor.
humane can you actually kill something? It's fucking being killed. Don't matter how unhumane you can think about it. Jesus, how do you kill a chicken? You cut its fucking head off. How do you
The
kill
same
a
thing you
cow?
kill
You
me.
shoot it in the head with a bolt gun. How do you kill a sheep? Do pretty much the same thing. Jesus Christ.
Wow.
The
Sounds
part
like you
of
just-
the food
You have all kinds
supply.
of career experience, Mr. Magnus.
They are specially bred for the food supply. If you don't like it, then don't fucking eat it. There you go.
I know, but
you
we're
go.
expecting a big bacon shortage coming up. Did you hear about this?
Ah!
Oh.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it makes no difference. I give less than a shit about bacon, but
What?
Maybe we could take up cannibalism and meet PETA fucking supporters. How's that?
No, I'm gonna need you
if
to
you
repeat
ask
that.
most cannibals what humans taste like, they'll tell you we taste like a cross between chicken and shit.
Well, that's pretty much half of PETA then, isn't it? Chicken shits.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
And that's coming from a fucking Englishman.
Yeah. And we like bacon, goddammit.
I know, well,
So do
I'm sure-
I.
We have proper bacon, not Canadian bacon. Sorry, Can.
Well, Mr. Fist. I mean, are you a heavy bacon supporter?
Yes, I believe I am at the vanguard of the bacon rights movement. Yes.
Do you slice the bacon with your razor fist?
This is no, I do not.
Today's
you
Hate-Bit
don't-
podcast
don't
is brought
slice-
to you by
you
Razor
slice
Fist
bacon.
Bacon Slicers.
He doesn't
Razor-
sully the blades unless in the face of terror.
The Razor Fist Ginzu knife. No.
It slices, it dices, it makes chips, it slices people's heads off. Yay!
It made me
And
think of
it's also
Shredder
your
from
own
Ninja Turtles.
silverware and can save your marriage. Yeah, so PETA, a bunch of attention-seeking whore bags. And by the way, I think I figured out what PETA does. They need your money so they can feed the fat naked girls that go inside the cage.
Well, can I
Yes.
just actually say one good thing about Peter?
Try it.
At least when they do the Flash games, the animations ain't that bad.
This is true.
But
They're very
when you
well
say
drawn. Come on.
they farmed that out, I don't really think they have like Flash specialists on staff at PETA.
You never know.
Maybe they do. I mean, because Alec Baldwin's not there anymore, so who knows what they've come up with since
I
then.
think Alec Baldwin had probably had a fucking, sudden burst of sense.
I refuse to believe that Alec Baldwin didn't have hamburgers from lunch. I mean, yeah, and I mean latter-day Alec Baldwin. But anyway,
Yes,
now I'm defacing the Baldwins. This is terrible.
I know.
Uh,
What's next?
What?
What's
This
next?
show's just getting good. I hate Alec Baldwin's fucking guts.
Oh, there
All
you
right.
go.
Well, in that case, I don't mind the Baldwins. I can't stand Stephen Baldwin because fuck that guy. Anyway, oh, dig this: Resident Evil 6, big fucking surprise.
Again, that's the
Downloadable
third
content-
fucking week.
I know, right? Downloadable content was on the disc.
That's nothing fucking new, is it?
What a shock.
Yeah, I know, but see, that's number 2 right here on the Hate-Bit podcast. It's like, yeah, we knew that, but apparently this is big news. And now Alpha Omega Sin, what are they gonna do to apologize, quote unquote, for their transgression?
The thing is, they got caught with their hand in a cookie jar, and Razor Fist. What do we say about people who get their hands caught in a cookie jar?
They have to guard the back door.
We had to put that in there, didn't we? We had to
So-
go there.
Had to go
So
there.
naturally, Capcom is guarding their back door because they had went on record and they said, well, we will never, ever, fingers crossed behind the back, ever do DLC on this DLC ever again. Ever. Because that is something that we've gotten a lot of complaints about because it's pretty dick move. And oh shit, you found that again? Oh, we had to do that because technical stuff, and that's literally like how they are wording things, like technical things and stuff
Literally,
like you
that
won't
was their
understand.
excuse. I mean, this
So-
is like
It's because of
this
circuits
not-
and so on.
Is this not effectively like somebody being like, "Hey, why'd you steal from that old woman? She, you just ripped her purse off," and they're like, science." Like
Science.
It has to do with the cosmos.
Oh,
Well, the
oh,
Cosbys.
so
I'm mysterious.
basically, so since the DLC was found on there, now all the DLC that has been found on there, they're saying is going to be made available for free to everybody. So basically, you're getting the entire game that you paid for, but they're going to say that it's free. And for
Yeah.
anybody that didn't get to find out about the news of this all being on the disc and your couple kilobyte download that you're going and making and not paying attention to, you're going to be thinking, wow, Capcom's on the up and up. They're giving
Well,
us, more bang for our buck. No, actually, they're trying to get more bang. Well, they're just trying to bang you for more bucks. There you go. So,
Frankly, they should be
just switch
sucking
a couple
your dick
things
for
around.
buying this piece of software, to be perfectly frank. But what I love, is how they're kind of like, making an apologist statement. It's like, yeah, well, here, you bought the poo-poo so you can have the PP for free. It's a great idea. It really is.
No, but it's because they got found out with the Street Fighter Cross Tekken debacle. That you buy that game, you got Dislock DLC on it. Azura's Wrath had a fucking Dislock DLC. So Third Strike and people have just thought, well, actually, we're going to check this disc just to see if there is any fucking files or things that are on there that should have been there from day one. And they were going to charge customers for it. And Capcom, yeah, fuck you. Yeah, you made some of my favorite series ever, but you really made bad
why is it whenever
decisions.
why is it whenever the inevitable Capcom DLC is rolled out, you always get the inexplicable urge to bend over and relax your tonsils? You know what I mean? Like every single fucking time they come out with a new game, it's like, well, I just check my watch, I'll wait another 5 minutes, the first bit of DLC will be out, and then the 20 immediately after that'll be released on a weekly basis. Like Dragon's Dogma, how friggin' overboard can you go with DLC?
Oh no.
Anyway.
Well, just while we're on the subject of DLC, it was like Borderlands 2. Borderlands 2, day one DLC, but that was to download a certain pack. Then a couple of weeks later, you get the Necromancer stuff, and then this week they're actually releasing the first DLC's campaign pack. I'm thinking, hang on a minute, how much money do you think we've got? And then they gave us a season pass as well, so it's like, wow.
And that's why Game of the Year editions seem nicer and nicer. You may not get to jump on the bandwagon immediately, but at least you get the entire thing without going broke.
Oh, that's true.
Absolutely. That's why. Go for the game, man. If you're gonna go out and get Fallout 3, get that Game of the Year edition.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
I did.
You know, when you mention that, I'm just terrified to think of how many people there must be in the world that are like $20,000 in debt just on their credit card just to get every game when it comes out.
I've just seen people pick up videos on YouTube. You see what every person's got the latest bloody releases. I'm like, yeah, I've got 2 latest releases last month, and now I'm happy with both of them. So.
No, I mean, I've been to Best Buy where I've gone to buy a game. And some dude walks up right behind me, and he's got, like 3 games for the PS3, 3 games, 7 games, and it's like $314. Like, do people still have that kind of money?
Some people
I think so, yeah.
I know I don't.
I certainly
don't know. Welfare will get you by. I don't know.
Well, and also, myself whoring myself out with the Hate-Bit podcast T-shirts. I mean, that's what really keeping me afloat. But
yeah. Well,
and you and your eyeliner. I mean, I'm sure there's money. We're okay.
We need to start a Kickstarter to actually buy ourselves a fucking factory to make half of this shit that we're selling.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. I've learned to make some pretty good money on the side from whoring myself at the old folk centers and at cemeteries. It actually works out pretty well.
I've just been blowing trannies for nickels.
Oh shit, dude! Look. I mean, with inflation and everything, you ought to bump it up to a quarter. They can.
Say, oh no, a quarter. He'll be blowing all day.
Fuck that. I definitely say Mr. Fist is worthy of a quarter. That is bullshit. Anybody that says a nickel, fuck them.
Yeah.
I'll give him a dime.
And he does women
wait. I think this is where we're supposed to say, I'd buy that for $1.
Yay, RoboCop.
All right, wait, so hold on. So we're blowing trannies, we're fucking dead people, and fucking old people until they're dead, and then going back to the cemetery. So it's like double. I like to call that I call that the old brittle double dip. It's pretty good stuff.
Double dip the chip.
We're going to hell, and we're gonna love it.
Oh, you want to know what? I'm fine with going to hell so long as I have season passes to all the shows that I need to go to, and I still have the room I reserved. So whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll be able to see Hitler's talk show.
Yeah, and you want to know what? I'm kind of excited about that.
I am too.
And I think it's called. What do they call it? What is the name?
They call it Schadenfreude, the musical.
Ah, all right. Well, good stuff.
And him and Mengele, they do the 2,000-year-old Jew thing. Never mind.
We're going to
that was almost a joke. That almost went somewhere. Oh well. We'll do better next time.
What's
the
next?
danger of having a punchline. But hey, jokes don't need punchlines. Ask Yahtzee.
Yahtzee.
I thought you were going to say Jimmy Fallon, but alrighty.
That's just he's found a way to remove the humor. That's
my money.
He's way ahead.
Jim Sterling.
He's also found a way to dance just by smiling. But anyway, we can't attack Jimmy Fallon. That's too easy.
Don't we have a podcast to do?
We do. We're doing a podcast. We're going to start attacking people's mothers shortly, so stay tuned. It's time for halftime. Halftime. I love halftime. It's time for the halftime where we're going to have the Hate-Bit BallBag and talk about whatever's on our mind just for a brief period while I get us in position, if you pardon that little pun I threw in there.
You guy.
I know.
Yeah. Get on with it.
Yeah, you guys, you're fooling too much. But no, we're having
here. You want to? If it's halftime, I'll just throw out one random thing. If anybody gets the chance, please check out and only watch this if you just want to be pissed at something. Watch a little fucking thing called Heckler. Okay, I watched it on Netflix. That has Jamie Kennedy in it. I hate Jamie Kennedy to begin with because he needs to be destroyed on a number of different levels.
Do you hate him with your fists or do you hate him with a truck?
I hate him with a truck with. I hate him with truck fists. Yeah.
Full dynamite.
Yeah, a full on dynamos. It just, oh goodness, watching this just blew my fucking mind. Me and my girlfriend Cinder watching it, and she literally became like the purveyor of fucking Jamie Kennedy hate. After that, like she was like, he's like one of the worst people ever. And then just for icing on the cake, I pulled up whenever he was on was it E3 2007. He was there for the Activision thing, and holy fuck, it was one of the worst things ever. If anybody gets bored, just type in Jamie Kennedy E3, and you'll see exactly what I mean.
After the podcast.
Yes, after the podcast. That, or open a separate tab and just pause us or something like that. Regardless, just fucking watch it. It's cringeworthy and it's bad in every single way. And if you don't believe that he's bad, watch us stand up, Malibu's Most Wanted and Son of the Mask. And there you go. I pretty much am going to be the reason why you become an alcoholic. So, huzzah.
Huzzah.
That's all.
You can watch Malibu's Most Wanted if your sole purpose is to hate Jamie Kennedy. If you're going there for that, then you've come here for the right reasons.
Absolutely.
Can't we just not bother going to a website and just hate Jamie Kennedy?
All right, then stay right here on the Hate-Bit podcast and hate Jamie Kennedy.
Yay!
See,
smiles all around.
See, and you know that's cheaper than going out and like hating real people.
Yeah, it is.
That
Plus,
is very
you
true.
also have to breathe around them too, and it's weird.
Yeah, it's you got to turn your nose a certain way. I know what you mean. But anyway, it's time for the Hate-Bit BallBag. Hate-Bit BallBag, where we read your letters again, very similar to the Hate-Bit Cuntbag, but different. And this week's Hate-Bit BallBag is brought to us by the letters F and the letter U, and by the number 69, which is fantastic. We thank our producers. They're good at coming up with stuff.
But number 69 for when you want to appear edgy in junior high school.
Correctamundo.
Or you can be ultra edgy and be 666.
What kind of budget do you think we have here? You think we got actual writers?
No, sir.
I don't know. We don't pay them enough.
Well, we don't pay them a fucking dime, and that's exactly why they give us shit like this. Come on, it's the best we can do.
If Besides, we have writers, they're fired.
Ace Salieri didn't want to advertise with us this week, so we had to fill in with something. Anyway, our first piece of mail here comes to us at the YouTube inbox, and it comes from YouTube user King Mula 2, and he says, thoughts on the TNA wrestling promotion, and that's all he says.
Not interested.
Thoughts on the TNA wrestling. I know we talk about WWF, WWE, and WCW, but we don't really discuss the TNA all that much. Razorfist, you know a lot about TNA, and Mr. Omega Sin, you know as well. Tell me, what are your thoughts? Because I don't know much about the promotion myself.
I think they could have been really good, but I think a lot of... honestly, my focus as a wrestling fan has always been more on like the theater aspect. I don't really care about the physical side at all. I just like
really.
Yeah, I like outlandish characters like fucking Undertaker and Gold Dust and fucking... I like the really elaborate, like, crazy fucking comic booky shit that happens in wrestling. Because if I wanted just the physical side, I could just watch MMA. I could watch two fucking grown men dry hump on a mat until the audience falls asleep.
I just want to mystified how people can do that, without killing each other.
I just don't like... that's my problem ultimately with TNA, is they were founded with all these the X division, which is basically they're trying to cash in on the MMA thing. Look at our physical acumen. We all wrestle under our first and last name. It's boring. But I don't know. Recently, I guess they kind of have an interesting storyline with the Aces and Eights thing going on. It's kind of like the NWO a little bit. It's much more. I'll tell you this much. The worst possible TNA show is still much more watchable than Raw over the past 5 years. Raw has been unwatchable for a very long time, and not enough people point out that TNA on its worst day is still better than this. And I say this as somebody who regularly watches TNA, so. And I'm not really a fan of TNA, for the record. I just, I think they're incrementally less shit.
Well, I have this thing that, people tell me, you have to watch this, and then I say why, and they don't really have a reason, except for Sting.
I was going to say, I had some reasons.
Well, yeah, you said Sting, and that was, enough to pique my interest at the very least.
I was gonna say I'll have to go with the opposite of everything. I actually like wrestling as a whole package. I like the actual wrestling whenever it's done in a very silky smooth fashion. Whenever it gets like absolutely violent to unnerving degrees. I do like the storylines and outlandish characters too, because that definitely helps you feel more invested in it. Besides the whole physical aspect of it, but with TNA, their storylines have always been kind of crap, honestly. They just don't have that great of writers. But whenever Razor Fist brought up,
I don't know, they have these periods where they get really good, and then it's like politics come into play. It's very WCW-ish. Like, nobody can put a run together as a writer or whatever. And I'll say this, like in late 2009 or something, they started to get really good. Like late 2009, 2010 was when it really got crap all of a sudden because they brought in Bischoff and Hogan. But it was
I felt that was
late
a bad
2000. I'd say mid to late 2009, they started to put a run together. And haters, I hate to break this to you, but that was because they gave all the booking power for those 5 months to Vince Russo. I hate to break it to you, but yeah. And then Bischoff and Hogan came in, and they shit all over that. And all that progress they made was for nothing. So that's TNA's problem. They get some momentum, and then they kill it themselves.
I don't think the only thing that I thought that they have done ultimately that was a really bad idea. Well, two things actually. One was bring in Hogan, Bischoff, and Nash. Those three, I have no idea why the fuck they even went. They were allowed near the product because they're all bad news, in general, and everybody knows that.
Well, everyone. Now I'll say this: you can understand taking Hogan because he's the biggest wrestler in the history of professional wrestling. He is a name.
Hogan was the biggest name. Hogan got a reality show and buried his own name.
No. It's still. I disagree. He's still Hulk Hogan. I don't care what he's done. I don't care about
Hulk Hogan.
Yes.
But look at the audience that you're trying to draw.
Speaking of which, have you seen his sex tape? Good times.
No, we don't. No, I don't want to see the leather interior of a car go and hump something that looks like his daughter, and he actually screams out Brooke. So no, I'm good. But here, basically, yeah, TNA. I watch it because of the fucking wrestling. Like me and my brother actually watch every single week. We got DVR'd. We sit down and watch it. Their new talent and even the old talent that they have. When I say old talent, I mean Sting, RVD. Let's see, Bubba Ray, which goes by Bully Ray, who's like 40 now. Jeff Hardy's even getting up there in age. All their older talent, which are established stars, are putting on some of the best matches I've ever seen them do in their entire career, and it's fucking crazy. And their newer talent that they have and the exclusive talent that they've had for the entire duration that they've been a company are still putting on fantastic matches. Oh, and I forgot to include Kurt Angle, sorry. But they're all just... It's really, really good matches. Their women's division, for example, is fucking amazing. The X division's kind of fallen by the wayside, which is unfortunate because it's one of the main reasons to watch it. But I mean, I really enjoy it a whole bunch. And the Razor Fist mentioned the Aces and Eights storyline. That's actually one of the biggest things that they've really been pushing, and it's not too bad. I'm hoping that it's got a good payoff because they're going slow with it, which I think is a better idea instead of NWO, which. That was their only big idea, and then they buried themselves under it, and they had the Wolfpack and the LWO, and it would just everybody knows what it was. It was shit after a while.
An idea? Is that what you call it?
And I wouldn't call it an idea. I would call it a train wreck, if anything. But the original NWO was a fantastic idea and revolutionary. But well, sort of revolutionary if you consider the fact that it was a ripoff from New Type Japan.
Japan Pro Wrestling, yeah.
But in general, it's a very, very good show. For any wrestling fan, I say check it out. Just don't expect long, elaborate storylines where they're talking endlessly and everything, like on Raw and everything. But if you're going there to watch wrestling and shit and see a really, really good match, please watch them because it's definitely good stuff and very, very fucking entertaining. So.
Well, it's good to know.
And at the very least, it's the alternative. If the alternative goes under, then we are stuck with 3-hour Raws forever.
And on top of that, they're on
after.
different days. I mean, they're on completely different days. So you have no reason not to watch it, even if you're like, well, I'm a dedicated WWE fan and I can't imagine watching something else. Well, why don't you just be a wrestling fan and watch wrestling for what it is? Just watch anything that you can, because if they're putting out a good product, one that's worth watching, you should want to check it out. You know, that's like when people are like, I'm only WCW, I'm only WWF. Well, I watched both shows, or I'd have one taped and I watched the other one. Like, you know, it's just a lot better that way, because then you get the best for your buck.
It depends really on who's doing the watching, really. I mean, I for myself, I'll say this about Raw, because I don't know a lot about TNA. I know there's a bunch of WCW guys there, and they at one point had the hexagonal ring, but now they don't.
Yeah.
And which is a bummer, but that kind of match looks like shit when you got 300-pound dudes. You know, they don't have enough room. They don't have a big backyard to play in. But you know, my point of view really is that. You know, I got stuck on the whole big backyard to play in, and I just got all lost. But the point is, it sucks.
Yeah.
That's what always seems to work on this show. What was I talking about? It sucks. Fuck that shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and then fuck. All right.
Yeah, that's always important. Anyway, God damn it, I knew I had something important to say, but must have been a lie. Anyway, we got more mail right here at hatebitpodcast@gmail.com, and this one comes from Jeffrey. And
Hello,
Jeffrey
Jeffrey.
says, I know Razorfist and Alpha enjoy the golden old 80s action movies. So since I'm Belgian, I've got to ask this. What are your favorite Van Damme movies and why? For me, it's Time Cop and Hard Target. By the way, thanks for already answering some of my questions. Keep on hating, guys.
Okay.
Raise your fists. Take us there.
Man. Either. It's kind of a toss-up. Cyborg or Hard Target?
Ah.
Because Hard Target, you can't beat the mullet. Can't beat the mullet. And I love how they just never talk about the fact that he has a thick Belgian accent. He's supposed to be an American hobo, and they're just like, what? He's got an accent? He's from whatever. You know, whatever.
Yeah, no. He got kicked in the mouth by a donkey when he was young. That's what happened.
They just never explain it.
Bloodsport.
Bloodsport. Ooh, that's a good one. It's a good one.
I mean, that's the movie like I actually got to watch when I was like super young and still like. And it's weird because they actually they have a Bloodsport 4 even.
And you can't.
What?
Yeah, they've actually like they kept going with it, and I was unaware of that. I knew of Bloodsport 1 and 2. I didn't know that there was a 3, but I came across 4. So I was like, oh, that's impressive on a creepy
It'd be funny
scale.
if there wasn't one.
Yeah, they just skipped it. They're like, nah, fuck it, it's alright.
No, fuck it. Bloodsport 3. That's fucking cliche, yo. Bloodsport 4.
We're revolutionizing. We're skipping
Yeah.
numbers. No one says we have to have them.
Who are you and your numbers?
Yeah. The only I don't know, and you can't sell short. You can't sell short the movie where he says, "I'm gonna kick a bison's ass so hard, every other bison wannabe's gonna feel it."
I'm so glad that was brought up. But let's be real. Giuliani fucking had the entire show. Like that was his.
Well, look, guys. I mean, it was. Wait, Giuliani, Raul Julia.
Thank you. Sorry. Yeah, I'm going with the New York mayor all of a sudden. My bad.
Look, here's the thing. Here's the thing. If Street Fighter's a bad movie, it doesn't really matter. God's work was accomplished on that film because Jean-Claude Van Damme got to rail Kylie Minogue in the early 90s. That's all that matters. That is God's work.
Also, the first Mortal Kombat was an awesome movie. Take that.
Ooh, that's below the belt, man. That has nothing. How dare you?
I have to bring it up.
Jean-Claude Van Damme with that piece of shit.
Anyway, back to the original question. Favorite Jean-Claude Van Damme films?
Yeah. Painted Magnus, what's your favorite Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Well, I was going to mention Street Fighter just because it's got that charm. But Kickboxer. Shut up. Kickboxer was one of my favorites because it was just your typical cheesy 80s cliche, bloody, fitness montage thing that seemed to be the style back then.
Yes.
Yes. Sell, ab training machines.
Oh no! And then there was obviously Hard Target, as he mentioned in his email. That was just fantastic. And believe it or not, even though the other two films that were in this series were shit, the original Universal Soldier, that wasn't actually too bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really not half bad.
I do like the fact that at the end Dolph Lundgren gets fucking mulched basically. That's the best way to fucking describe it. on the front of a combine with his.
One thing, did anybody Expendables 2?
Expendables 2?
No.
Watched it yet.
Okay, well, that right there I would actually rank up pretty high. And that's like a very, very recent movie. And, I mean, he's a fucking villain in it. And it just, granted, it's not a only Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, but it's like a greatest hits of action stars movie. But he is in it, and it's definitely noteworthy to put on a list. If anybody's seen it, it's fucking awesome. Awesome pancakes.
There you
Yeah,
go.
but you're kind of 30 years too late. It's 80s films.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Sorry,
Sorry to shit on your chips there, but
I was focused on the whole favorite Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, so I was just like thinking about that.
Hey, what are you doing here? Not necessarily. I mean, it could be any Jean-Claude Van Damme movie.
what about you then, YELLKAOS?
Well, for me, the one that I always went to as a kid was Lionheart. I enjoyed that one very much, mostly because of the fighting in the pool. I always thought that was kind of neat. And also, I love any Jean-Claude Van Damme movie that for some reason features, great big Belgian accented, thick accent Jean-Claude Van Damme playing a middle-class American father from the Midwest. Yeah, this guy came from fucking Peoria, Illinois. Right, okay.
And I also want to say that I think I can get away with saying Expendables 2 because Hard Target wasn't in the 80s; it was in the 90s.
Oh,
Suck on it.
good point.
Yep.
See,
no,
you don't know this. There's a whole group of anti-Sainted Magnus people going, "Suck on it, Magnus."
Ah,
No,
fuck them.
don't say that, everyone. That is
Yeah,
mean.
that's
but still,
not nice. But
Yeah.
we know you're there. Don't think we don't know you're out.
No, don't say that. Flat out, fuck you. If you're listening to this and you don't like the Sainted Magnus, suck on my throbbing chode. Suck on Sainted throbbing chode. Fuck
No,
you.
they're not.
And if you can't find either throbbing chode, you can get them at the Hate-Bit store at hatebitpodcast@gmail.com.
You stop pouring us out, you cunt.
Hey, we gotta.
you wanna know- Hey, you know what? I think that's something else that we need to do. We seriously need to go get cock molds and start selling that for merch.
It's true.
We got to talk to the plaster casterers of Detroit. That's who we got to get a hold of.
Dude, that's fine. All I know is mine's gonna be glow in the dark. So
And mine's going to
I
be
call
bigger
that.
than the rest
Oh,
of us.
that's not fair.
well, here's the thing. I want to make sure that people can find it no matter where it's at, and somebody gets embarrassed because they forgot to roll it all the way under the bed. And they're like, "What's that?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's an AOS dildo. Don't want anybody to see that." So yeah, that'll be good times. Good times.
That's very good.
Is anybody gonna have like the rabbit style one? Anyone? No.
You mean all fluffy on the sides?
I just
Oh,
know
no,
I'm going to
dude,
have the biggest one.
Mine's gonna have a goldfish swimming in it.
Dude, yes, like fucking the really awesome 70s disco boots. Those things were
Correct.
the fucking go-go boots with the platforms and the fish going fuck every time that they go clocking around.
How do you feed the fish? Who cares?
I'm wearing the fish. What the fuck does it matter? Poor goldfish.
I'm Disco Stew. Yeah.
And Razor Fist will of course be chrome plated.
Absolutely.
Well, wait. You know what? Razorfish should be like that one strap-on that was in the movie 7. So then, like, it can go with the whole razor thing. So then it's just like gigantic.
No, it'll just be a gigantic, just a huge razor. That's all it'll be.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Screwing me is a commitment. Thank you.
Yeah.
We just write the word penis on it, so somebody's like, "Oh, it's a penis. I get it now."
You're just going to see you're going to see the headlines now. Another woman has been sliced by razor fist dildos. Like you'll be slicing slatches here, there, and everywhere.
I know where he got it from too. He got it from Blackie Lawless's garage sale.
Oh, and
It's-
I I want to definitely say that if we are going to go ahead with all these products, that we should be an evil organization in the next Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, and he has to stop.
Absolutely. I'm ordering our high back chairs right now.
Well,
Oh,
then
dude.
you have to order yourself a mustache too.
I want to have the Dr. Claw voice and the cat that I can go.
No,
And pet.
I don't think are we allotted that much facial hair? I think Alpha's just taken it all. I think.
I can share. It's okay. Maybe maybe a little off the bottom, maybe, or off the sides. I could give away one of my sideburns. It'll be sweet.
Yeah, just
Alpha Megasen donates sideburns to the needy of mustachians. Ah.
well, I will have to
To
say one
help the
thing.
entire world speak Italian.
Can I finish what I'm trying to say?
Not unless you have a mustache.
I do have a mustache actually, so fuck you.
In case you're all right. See, you that's the rite of passage.
Yes, I'm just making sure that. Make sure you wash out the gravy.
Oh yes, yeah. All that problem because I can't eat a TV dinner without making a goddamn mess. It's sad. I should just get a Hate-Bit podcast bib. That's what I need now.
An Alpha Omega Sin bib.
Do you have to clean it with like paint thinner and a lice comb to get that stuff out of there? What?
Dude, I shit you not. I shampoo and condition my beard.
Fair enough.
As do I.
Well, there's people that don't. They're just like, I use soap.
That's how I make my money, really, by conditioning your beard.
Alpha Omega beard.
He also puts curlers in his pubes, just for the record, guys. He actually perms it.
Well, actually, he got them frosted.
I got the highway thing going on, the Happy Trail, but then I just need to get like some lights going down the sides. It'll be great.
Yeah, he's the only guy I know whose pubes have cat scratches. It's unbelievable.
I want to know how far off topic are we going to go this week?
It's the only guy I know whose Happy Trail has billboards.
Oh God, Jesus Christ!
And within this short amount of time, we've come up with like 19 different products that we can start sending off to China and have a bunch of children make. It'll be great.
Yeah, and you know who could plug them for us? Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh yes, and he can do it while dressed like a husband inside of like a nice little country house, pretending that he's lived there the entire time and he's most definitely American.
Yeah, he talks that way even though he comes from like Topeka, Kansas. Yeah, I know. Anyway, that's going to do it for the Hate-Bit BallBag. Or do we have time for one more?
I think we've got time for one more.
We got time for one more. We can do one more because this one looks pretty good. One comes from a quick one. It's going to be as quick as we can possibly get it. This one comes to us from YouTube user Microsoft Sam Rants 1, and he says, "Hey guys, love the show. What do you think about these new people that have arrived?" Say new people. This was almost going to sound very racist for a minute. He says that have arrived to the metal scene, well, at least younger than 25. They try to make up all these rules for it, like saying that if you don't listen to death metal, that you aren't a true metalhead, or always thinking that true metal is an obscure black metal band from Europe whose demo sounds like they were recorded underwater and using a string through a cup. What are your thoughts, Sam?
I'm not aware of new metal fans doing that. I find the old school
Yeah, I find
that I used to tape trade with and stuff were the ones who imposed those rules. And man, I'm fine with that actually. I wish metal was more elitist. I get tired of this inclusive BS where it's like, oh, As I Lay Dying is a metal band. No, you're not. You're a hardcore band. You're a hardcore band. People don't buy hardcore albums anymore, so now you're calling yourself metal because metal has credibility, or at least for the moment it does.
And these bands all shit on metal less than half a decade ago.
Absolutely, because metal wasn't cool in the late 90s. So now it's cool. You know what I mean? So I'm fine with those rules. I say make more rules. I say make stupid rules that make no sense. Be like, oh, sorry, if you're a girl who listens to metal, gotta be topless 24 hours a day. Sorry. You know what I mean? Like, I'm cool with that.
Really, since when is listening to heavy metal a fantasy fucking football league? There's no rules. You get into what you get into. Do you have to learn a secret fucking handshake to hang out with these people too?
I'm just wondering when you're gonna get the fucking gift badges and shit like that, just to say, yes, I wear a badge of honor because I listen to metal.
Well, there are. You can get them at hatebitpodcast@gmail.com. Please send us a pre-order form. They're only $19.95 if you act now.
You know what? This is probably the most appropriate time for this. Shameless plug. There we go.
Thank you. Apparently this must be coming from these under 20 kids who seem to think they know things. Who cares?
Yeah,
Fuck
I don't
me.
know. First off, if you ever find yourself saying you're not metal unless you listen to death metal, you're already wrong. I'm just gonna come right. I hate death metal so fucking much, but it's like, no, it's not a requirement at all.
No, not in the slightest. You do what you do. I mean, there are people who are metalheads who listen to fucking Pentagram and Candlemass all day long, and God bless them too.
Yes.
All
Yes,
day
quite a bit.
long.
So all day. So the lesson here is do your own thing. Fuck anybody else. Right. So that's going to do it for the Hate-Bit BallBag. We thank you for joining us. And once again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything like that, drop us a line. hatebitpodcast@gmail.com. Also drop us a line at Facebook and right here on YouTube. Anyway, it's time. I made the promise, and so here it is. I don't know how many of these we've done now, but the video game Circle Jerk has returned. And per Sainted Magnus's request, Sainted Magnus, please go first. What you been playing? What you been jerking on? What you been doing?
Well, the obvious Borderlands 2. Just recently picked up Dishonored. Having relatively good fun on that. It is hard as balls in certain respects because I'm trying to do it just pure sneaking. But it seems like the only option to get through the game is to actually just fucking kill everything. Another game.
Yeah, there's way fewer options for non-lethal in that game, which is one of the sticking points I will bring to bear against it.
Yeah, it's kind of sticking in my keister as well, to be fair. And I picked up this on Monday, and that was Pokemon Black 2. And yeah, I'm enjoying it, but it's not exactly the. It's not. It's just basically it's a middle ground for the. It's just like an updated version of Pokemon Black 1. So yeah, it's supposed to be an extension of the story, but I can't really say it's a bad Pokemon game, but it's not a great Pokemon game. Still think Soul Silver and Heart Gold were the better versions. Finally, I've just picked this up today, and that was Smash Brothers Smash Brothers Brawl, sorry, on the Wii, and it's actually fucking absolutely just fun. Just fun all the way down to the bottom, and that's it. That's what I've been playing. I'm gonna throw the ball to Go with Alpha Omega Sin.
Say, don't be throwing around Jim Sterling like that. Someone could get hurt.
And I would definitely get hurt. Me and
You think
pretty
I'm
much the
strong
entire
enough to lift
neighborhood.
Jim Sterling? Wow.
If you are, it's very
I
impressive.
gave you the benefit of the doubt.
Do you think he has British powers, or what the fuck?
No, I have the
Not-
beard powers. I miss my hair powers though. I used to be able to choke bitches with it, but now I can't. So
Yeah, well, once he grows his hair out a little bit more, he'll be ready to go. It's the Samson effect.
Once he grows his hair out a little, he's going to look like a microphone.
So this month is pretty much just survival horror month for me. So it's any and everything that is within the realm of survival horror, and it's pretty much just been like all Resident Evil for me. At least like within the past like week or so. I got Resident Evil 6 and I played through that, and I completed the 3 main campaigns. So I got through that. I haven't played through Ada's yet, so I don't know what hers is like, with the exception of just people telling me what it was like. I was messing around on Resident Evil 3 because I was going to play everything in order, but I just said fuck it because for some reason I was in the mood to play Nemesis, so I was like, here we go. So I was playing that, and I was playing the Resident Evil that was on Game Boy Color. And not Resident Evil Gaiden either, but the actual like Resident Evil, the one that got canceled. But some people got a hold of the prototype ROM. See, I told you I look for this stupid bullshit all the time, but I managed to get a hold of it and was playing through that. It's an unfinished game, but it's still really fun to play, especially if you're tanked and you're just bored and you're like, look at this is silly. So yeah, that's pretty much everything for that. I still have a big fucking list of stuff to play through, like Eternal Darkness, Deadly Premonition, Zombies Ate My Neighbors, House of Dead games, and shit like that. So, yep. And I don't know.
Just before you move on, can I ask you a question about the Resident Evil Game Boy Color version? How accurate is it to the PlayStation 1 version?
It's 100% accurate.
It's 100% accurate.
Every way possible on an 8-bit portable machine. It's honestly impressive.
Which means not at all.
No, honestly, it really is. For every camera angle, is done up exactly the same. All the dialogue, it's obviously not worded for you to hear, but you read all the text and everything. The characters, the zombies and everything, they only have one zombie type, and I don't know if they ever plan to have more than it. And again, it's an unfinished game, so I don't know how accurate it is later on down it, but it is pretty. It's pretty neat just to see what they could have done. But yeah, I don't know. It's a free ROM. Just Google search it and download it. It's definitely worth a playthrough. So.
Sounds interesting. Thanks.
I'll send you the ROM, but for everybody else out there, just Google search it, and because if I put a link to the ROM, obviously our shit will get flagged.
Yeah, damn you, Google.
Even if the game is unreleased, which is silly.
Yep.
But yeah. So who wants to go next?
Well, I've been playing through, obviously Resident Evil 6. I'm going to have the review up in the next couple days here. Really rocking and rolling on that. But yeah, needless to say, my disappointment was palpable. But, I don't know if disappointment is the right word. I could tell pretty much from word go this game was going to be awful. But whatever, I didn't have to pay for it, so fuck you. And fucking... Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been playing much aside from that. I guess Dishonored, really digging into Dishonored will be next. But that's as for now. I've been going back and playing a lot of SNES games. Like, okay, call me a girl. Of course, I fucking am a girl, but
You're
whatever.
a girl.
I've been playing through this. I played the Sailor Moon beat 'em up for SNES the other day.
That is
and it was
actually
awesome.
fucking awesome anyway. So
It's a great
it's a
game.
good fighter, so if anybody calls you a girl just because you're playing a fighting game, tell them the fuck off.
It's a good game. Not even gonna lie. Like, if you need a side-scrolling arcade-style beat 'em up to play with a friend one afternoon, like, it's one of the better ones. Kind of like Final Fight, but with Sailor Scouts. Don't judge. It's 2012.
At least you know what Sailor Scouts are.
The only complaint I heard about the game was that like all the movements and everything were like absurdly stiff.
No, it's really not bad. I mean, if you really think about it, the movement's stiff in Final Fight too.
Well, yeah, that's actually one of the things that came to mind. It's just like that was the only thing I had heard about it that was negative. Other than that, everybody said really good stuff. I've yet to play it. I actually wouldn't mind because I don't really give a fuck what I'm playing. If somebody's like, "Oh, you're playing that," and I just choke them with my cock. Yeah, that's my answer to everything.
Well, I played Dragon Ball Z games, but say Razorfist might not even like them, but I do. And there we go.
Razor Fist is the measuring stick when it comes to people being mean. It's like and somebody's being mean, like Razor Fist. That mean guy, that bully, that metal bully.
Yeah, so when you're like, hey, you were a real dick to him. You were a real razor fist to that guy, man.
Yeah.
You were really razor fisting him, and that could actually go a number of different ways.
This is going to be in the Urban Dictionary before you know it. Classy stuff. But, I got to talk about my personal experience here. And I have not played the games that I expected to play this month. I've been working on Luigi's Mansion, but not getting to it as much as I'd like to. It's been a really busy month, and I'm sad about this. And I found out that apparently a girlfriend from years ago ripped off my copy of Eternal Darkness. And I know, and so I'm going around all the game shops trying to find another copy because I refuse to go to eBay, and I can't find it anywhere. And looks like my plan for the Monster Mash 2012 of playing, and doing a somewhat decent review or my experience with Eternal Darkness has failed, and it's very sad.
Don't be defeated yet. Go to Amazon.
I refuse to go to Amazon. I'm not going to go that route. I'm doing what I can. However, in the interim, I, like Razorfist, have gone back to the Super Nintendo, and I've really been working on an Atlas game for the Super Nintendo called Run Saber, if anybody remembers that. Very similar to I would say, a cross between Ninja Gaiden and Strider. Really interesting game.
Run Saber?
Run Saber.
On PS1?
No, on Super NES.
Oh, Super. Okay, I was gonna say, like, I don't know why. I was just like, man, that sounds. Sorry, my mind got like completely fucked there for a sec. I was just like, whoa.
If your mind keeps going like that, imagine what's happening to your liver.
Yeah, I don't need it anyway. It's just there for show.
That's good. And the other one I've been working on is Super Ghouls and Ghosts because why not?
It's just awesome.
It's just awesome.
Dude, that's like Oh man, I love that game, and I also love Ghosts and Goblins. Like, just really, really good stuff. I remember when Maximo came out. Did you ever play that?
Oh, Maximo.
Um,
That Maximo versus the Army of Zim was a good one as
yes,
well.
yes, yes, I did.
Yeah, Maximo's like, technically like the sequel to
Mhm.
that whole thing, but that I was real excited when that came out. But yeah, those games are they're awesome as hell, but holy shit, they will
They're
beat
freaking
your fucking
ruthless.
ass.
They are
Like,
those those are games derived directly from the old age of arcade that was designed to do nothing but suck your quarters.
dude, I still say the first one by far is still the most evil, just because of that bullshit of you have to go through the game twice.
Yeah,
And,
fuck that shit.
and going through it once is already a fucking chore. Twice though, my god, that's fucking brutal. But I give you credit. Those are good choices, man. Very good
No,
stuff.
it's all I can throw together on such short notice, and I'm really bummed about Eternal Darkness. And if I find that fucking bitch, I'm gonna knock her teeth. Wait a minute, this could be construed as evidence, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop.
No,
Um,
just power bomb.
I power bomb through a fucking table because, as I know, all the haters of the Hater Nation, they want tables.
It,
Yes.
See, they want tables, and so
Tables.
we're gonna bring them tables.
it's
Let me
going to
see.
be Magnus, get the table.
That's exactly what it's gonna be. You'll struggle a little bit because Jim Sterling will be on it, but that's okay. We'll get through it because we're the
Only,
haters.
only
Yeah.
the Japanese, only a Japanese table will be able to support him.
Figured they need like a Norwegian table or something, made of stone.
I wonder,
But
the IGM building. I wonder if that's actually built like a Japanese house. Where they all float and it's got that big pole in the middle. So then when he walks, it just shakes from side to side and it doesn't topple over.
Yeah,
That
there
it
is
might
no
be.
way paper walls are keeping Jim Sterling's ass inside.
no,
I'm
I'm
sorry.
pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that the same people that built Jim Sterling's house built the Pentagon.
I think they just built Jim Sterling.
What? We must manufacture this. Never mind. It's this fat asshole who will tell everyone he will show us the way.
I like to
But
think that he wears Sherman tanks as roller skates.
like in Rampage.
Like that.
I'm sure they're M1 Abrams that he walks in.
Oh boy, we're gonna get sued. Anyway, oh, you know what? It's time for the Hate-Bit Retrospective. Did we say we were gonna have one? Well, too bad. You were ill prepared. It's time for the Hate-Bit Retrospective at Razorfist Behest. We're gonna talk about the scariest levels of any video game ever that come to mind. And please share with us your experiences down below in the comment section. We'd really appreciate it. So Razorfist, get us going, man, because you seem to know some scary goddamn shit about video games.
Oh man, keeping in mind what I'm thinking here is mostly like, because I know some games don't have set levels, you know what I mean, but they definitely have segments, and I think those segments are more if you're talking about a non-linear game, or a game that doesn't really have levels per se, that's more what I'm talking about here. Like for example, Silent Hill 4 does not have levels, but I would say one of the scariest, or at least the freakiest, like mindfuckiest kind of levels I've ever seen is the hospital in Silent Hill 4, because it's totally different from any of the other hospitals in any of the other Silent Hill games. Those ones are just kind of spooky. Silent Hill 3 was a little freakier, I guess, but I don't know. To me, the hospital in Silent Hill 4, where especially that one part where you're going down the long hallway and it's just a series of doors, and in Silent Hill 4, without spoiling too much, basically the game is metaphorical. It's kind of like the movie The Cell, where you're literally wandering around in the mind of a serial killer. So every single room, it's literally a long hallway with probably 30 doors in it. And you have to open each one because you don't know which one leads out of this place. So as you're entering all of these doors, each one is symbolic of some kind of obsession in this serial killer's mind, and it becomes increasingly unsettling. And it's one of the reasons Silent Hill 4 is my favorite in the series. It's absolutely masterful the way they've depicted this symbology without getting like too graphic. I mean, they get obviously graphic because it's Silent Hill, but it's the way they did it was just, it's an absolute masterpiece. I would say that. I would also throw the Shellbridge Cradle from Thief Deadly Shadows out there, because I mean, it's universally regarded as one of the most terrifying single video game levels ever made. I mean, for Christ's sake, when the premise is you have to go in and steal something from an orphanage that used to be an insane asylum and burned down and is reputed to be haunted. I mean, right there, you've already like filled the tank on I don't want to go in this place. You know what I mean? But like, so it's executed brilliantly. I think it's actually, you know, a lot of the thief elitists will say the Return of the Haunted Cathedral is better. I think that's bullshit, actually. And though I like Thief the Dark Project, I really do think the Shellbridge Cradle is a much better level. They really polished the ideas they were working on there. And I would throw the Labyrinth section from Silent Hill 2 out there, where you're that area. Does anybody else know what I'm talking about? It's that area you enter after you leave the prison. In Silent Hill 2, where you're in this like series of just it's boring hallways. I can't even describe, but it's so unsettling because it's so unlike anything else you've seen in the game up until this point. And it's clearly kind of symbolic of James's sort of mental gymnastics. He's trying to get away from the truth. You know what I mean? But it's like just the way that it was handled, and then when you go down those ladders and all of a sudden Pyramid Head is walking around like patrolling down there and you totally shit yourself. It's a really good game. So yeah, let's throw it to Sainted. What about you, man? What are the scariest levels you've ever played?
I can go with scariest moments more than scariest game levels, but I'd say I used to be a PC gamer a few years ago, and I was playing like Fear and Doom 3 and all those sorts of games on there, where they actually used Fear to actually make you play the game longer. And Doom 3 was a good example because you had to switch between your torch and your pistol at the beginning of this game, and you were genuinely scared. You was like, well, something's going to come out of me at one point or another, and it was always playing on how you were playing the game. Somebody turn your phone off. Yeah.
This is not a call-in show.
I know. I was thinking, are we doing something new here? Yeah. So the way Doom 3 for me, it actually just it plays with your mind. It plays with like there's something going to come out at some point or another, and then it does, and it makes you shit yourself. But I think Fear did it better because you was with Fear you're always being pursued by Alma, and Alma is like this 8-year-old girl which looks like the girl from The Ring, and she just pops up out of nowhere and then disappears. It's like, whoa, what the fuck? How? What? You're still shitting yourself. And also one other game I'll throw out there, and that was Stalker. Now there was one specific level where you're going through like a sewer system, and in that sewer system it's all dark, and all you've got is your headlamp to actually for company really. And there's like these, best way I can describe them is chimpanzees with fucking with like a old Russian gas mask on, and they come at you from every angle, and you just can't see where they're coming from because you've no radar. They're just coming out of everywhere. You name it, they're coming for you. And when they kill you, you're thinking, what the fuck happened there? So those are some of my scary moments in games. I don't need to pass it on to. I'd say Alpha, you take over.
Fuck.
This guy knows fucking scary stuff, so watch out.
Oh no.
There's a bunch. I'm not gonna go into a bunch of detail, but I'll just name off random areas. In Resident Evil 1, whenever I was little, there was the guardhouse after you leave the mansion. I remember that place really fucked with me because of the music, and I didn't know what to expect once you left, because it was a really big deal. But that place was really scary to me whenever I was younger. In Resident Evil 2, the morgue. Once you get downstairs into the basement, the music down there is very, very fucking cool. But when you get inside the morgue, you know that dead bodies are kept inside a morgue, and you're just expecting the worst case scenario, and nothing happens when you enter. Nothing's in there until you're about to leave, and it's like, holy shit, you know. Then let's see, with there's Pokemon, which Lavender Town. Uh, to a lot of people, that place is just really fucked up because it's really off-putting in a lot of ways, because they actually acknowledge that things die in the game instead of just get knocked out. The music's really fucked up, and there's that ghost Pokemon and everything. There's a whole conspiracy about Lavender Town that's pretty cool. A lot of people have written some neat shit about it. Within Condemned, if anybody ever played the first Condemned, when you're inside the mall, there's all these mannequins, like these fucked up looking mannequins everywhere. And, you just hear sounds off in distance and everything. You're waiting for somebody to come out and attack you. And you don't know if any of those mannequins are one of those people standing there. So it's a very tense area. And the Razorfist brought up Silent Hill, and I definitely like the school and the hospital. The school in Silent Hill 1, the hospital in Silent Hill 2 are pretty badass. And
Silent Hill 2 Hospital, man, is so unnerving because of it's one of the things that never gets pointed out enough. I mean, everybody praises Akira Yamaoka's soundtrack, but they really don't talk about the way audio is handled in the game in general.
No, I definitely agree. And the way that it seems like the music rises at all the right points.
It
when
does.
Bad shit is happening.
They know that's the big thing. I mean, it's rather appropriate for the game's nomenclature, but they know how to use silence. They do. They know when to not have the music there, and it seems like it cuts out at the perfect points. And it's not just music, but just audio in general.
Yeah.
Just like the sound of enemies in the distance.
That's one of those games why you want to have surround sound.
Yeah.
Because you get enveloped into it. Those are super good points, and I mean that game takes it to a whole new level. And this, granted, this isn't a level, but I just want to put it out there for the fuck of it because I had thought about it. If anybody played Splatterhouse 2 or 3 on the Genesis and Mega Drive and all that, if you ever played them, you should. I don't know why, but I always thought it was unsettling seeing the cutscenes for some reason, because they're very realistic looking, but they're kind of just fucked up. I don't know how to describe it. It's one of those things. Just look at pictures of them, and you'll see what I mean. But yeah. So I will go and pass the torch to Mr. YELLKAOS.
Ooh, it's scary stuff for October. For me, one that's what? You're groaning now.
Nothing.
What, are we not paying you enough here?
Nope, never.
See,
Never.
I knew it. No, for me, the one that sticks out, and I've told this story on my show a number of times about Resident Evil 2, like Mr. Omegason was saying, but my part that scared the piss and shit right out of me is in the second floor, the green hallway with the fucking black birds sitting in the broken windows.
Oh.
And not knowing what's going to happen, because sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't. I don't know the key what it is that switches whether or not they attack or they don't, but it's fucking terrifying. It's just absolutely fucking terrifying. And then the other part is Super Mario 64, the piano that tries to eat you. I don't know if it's that way for everybody, but that scares the fuck out of me. A piano that's going to eat you.
I never liked musical instruments that were suddenly hungry. That always kind of
not at all. It's bad enough that they blow, much less they suck, if you get what I'm saying.
And while we're on the subject of things that eat you, what about...
What about all the slags the worldwide?
Yeah, they might want to eat you. Might be tasty.
They might. I had...
They only want to eat baby gravy. There's a difference.
Yes, and they're, because if you didn't know, protein's really good for your hair.
Is it now? Wow.
It is. So and the more you know.
The more you know.
Right here on the Hate-Bit podcast.
Yeah. I'm surprised nobody actually brought up Fatal Frame or Project Zero. Well, I know they're the same game. I'm just using the title so people understand what I'm on about. Nobody actually brought up that, because when I first played that game, I was bloody babbering myself, just trying to actually take out the ghost with a camera. For fuck's sake, that's some scary shit right there.
No, the scariest location in that to me is in the first one. It's actually fairly early on. It's there's a very, very long hallway and it just has ropes hanging. And it's extremely quiet. All you can hear is the creaking of the floor. And you're just walking, and I see all these ropes there, and I just found it very fucked up to see because it remind me of nooses just hanging. And you're walking, and at the very end of it, a non like they have ghosts in the game that don't actually attack you, and they just have a ghost go by out of nowhere, and you're just waiting for something to come attack you, and that just walks by, doesn't attack you, but it's one of those things, it just fucks with your head. Now you're like really on edge, but nothing's happening. So it very good on a psychological level with something like that.
Oh, and the Nemesis chasing after you in Resident Evil 3.
Yeah, that that shit was, oh my god. Anytime that I just heard the door opening, stars, and I'm like, no, and then rockets are flying around and he's running over ready to fucking pick you up and choke a bitch, and poor Jill.
Oh,
Poor
I know.
Jill.
What about scariest moments in non-scary games? Like there are some genuine like horror elements in some games that are not necessarily horror. Like, well, I mean, the example that I brought up earlier, Thief is not a horror game at all, but they have some of the scariest levels you'll ever play in your entire life. And I think the fact that the game isn't horror actually feeds into that. You aren't expecting it because you're cruising along, and then it gets amplified by the fact that the entire game is based around tension and atmosphere. So it's like
I brought up Pokemon. Haha, my contribution. No, I would say one scary moment I would have to say, even though it's not a stage, but I don't know why, but anytime then the old Sonic the Hedgehog games, when you're drowning, that music that starts playing, I've never had music made my heart beat so fucking fast and like my hands go so fucking frantic to just want to get out of a situation than that music happening. Because I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna drown, I'm gonna die, fuck no, fuck no, fuck. And then back at the beginning in a
Music like that is why old people shouldn't play video games.
Yeah. What's that? Your pacemaker is acting up. Oh, sorry about that, Grandpa. Shouldn't play Sega Genesis. It's all that blast processing. Just blasting that poor bastard's heart to oblivion.
Oh, gosh.
So do you guys got any areas in non-survival horror games that you want to toss out there? Besides the piano and Super Mario and what have?
there were some spooky kind of moments in like the Forest Temple in Ocarina of Time, or like there are always like just weird kind of scary-ish moments.
Majora's Mask is actually kind of a fucking scary game.
Yeah,
Like there's all sorts of horror themes all riddled throughout that game. Like I have to say, like Legend of Zelda, it's not like it's a colorful, happy game, but Majora's Mask was just dark, gloomy, and foreboding in so many ways. You had a moon that was constantly like rape facing at you at all times, just hanging in the fucking sky, and like all this shit with the mask, some of the monsters and shit. It was very fucked up. Whenever you look at it,
just the mask guy himself was creepy as fuck.
Dude, his grin is like Shigeru Miyamoto's. I swear they just like fucking took his face, planted it on him, and they were like, well, then again, I heard that that's who it's supposed to be. Like they said that's who they based him off of, but I don't know if that's true or not.
The man is horrifying, and then when he has those crazy like rage moments, and he like holds his head and he like rocks back and forth, and his eyes go all bloodshot. It's like, this is awful. Stop.
Yeah. Okay, here's one, and this was actually one of the highlights for me in the game, is in Batman Arkham Asylum, the Scarecrow stages. Those are really fucked up. And the thing is, like, especially if you understand the whole... I mean, most people understand Batman's parents were killed and everything. That's obviously, like, a main factor into his fucking psyche that bothers him. And all that shit was, like, used against him. And the way that they portrayed the game, like, it made me want to see Rocksteady tackle a survival horror game, because they pulled that off beautifully. I was like, wow, you guys, goddamn, like I did not expect this to be as cool as it is, but it was, and it was also like very just scary.
That sequence was fantastic. I will agree with that. I've got one to add to the mix, and that was the Sorrow boss fight on Metal Gear Solid 3. Because if you
Oh yeah, that was pretty. Although it wasn't really a boss fight, it was really just like a "what the fuck is
Mm.
going on" kind of moment.
But if you think about it,
Yeah.
if you go around killing all the all the soldiers in the game,
Which I
you
did.
actually see all the ghosts from the people that you've killed, and you also see the different ways you've killed them. So, like, say for example, if you set one of them on fire, you'll see one on fire. If you slit the throat with the combat knife, obviously you see a dead soldier with his head flailing about.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
really
I
good.
I would also have to throw out, for those of you who have played Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, the hotel from that game is
Oh.
freaky as fuck. Oh my goodness. It's really well made, really scary level, at least when it works properly. Because when you play it and it's glitched, it's slightly less impactful. But
Oh, no.
yeah, definitely a really atmospheric, really creepy level. It doesn't quite. You're always expecting something that never quite comes. You know what I mean? That's I think the best horror is when you're expecting something really in your face to happen and it doesn't happen.
That's
You know
true.
what I mean? I think that's when it's best.
You find that you're experiencing erectile dysfunction.
So I think
No, no, sir. No.
I don't think we've got anything more to add to that retrospective. So,
Actually, here I'll add just one last,
well,
real quick. There's a town in the Shadow Hearts RPG on PS2. It's already a very dark, very gothic kind of game to begin with, just like with the settings and everything. But within that, there's like this one town. It's like everything's dead for the most part, and it's very fucked up. Like when you enter it, just everything goes in like a completely different direction as far as like the game's overall tone. And I can't remember what the town's name is though, but it's like very off kilter, and just I liked it a whole lot. If anybody can remember the name of that town, I'm talking about with like the dead people and shit like that, and everybody's like transforming and stuff. Please throw that comment down below because I cannot think of it for the fucking life of me. But yeah, that's my last one. I'll chuck out there.
yeah. So I guess that's it for the retrospective, don't you think, guys? Yes, no, maybe.
Yes, we looked back and it was scary and it was great.
Almost certainly. So I've not done this for a while, so bear with me. So it's time for everybody's favourite section of the Hate-Bit podcast, and that is the rant. And this week we've actually got someone different ranting this week, and that is our friend, your friend, my friend, and everybody else's hated person, YELLKAOS. Go for it, man. What have you got to tell us?
Well, thank you very much, Sainted Magnus. I've got a rant for you. And this is not going to be a smooth, polished rant like you get from the mighty Razor Fist, because he's good at that sort of thing. That's his shtick. That's his thing. That's his MO. You're not going to get a lot of fancy words. In fact, I think I'm going to cut this just like I would a wrestling promo. So for those of you who wondered what happened to Chaos Theory, this is one that's been sitting on the books for a while and has just never made it to the internet. But I need to come here close. You know who you are. Okay? I'm gonna tell you right here. I have had it. I have fucking had it with these cookie cutter gaming YouTube channels. I am really at my wit's end with these faggots. I got some news for you, and you're probably not gonna like to hear this because it's coming from that fucking faggot YELLKAOS, the one from the Hate-Bit podcast that nobody likes. You're coming from this guy, and I'm gonna tell you, you're not gonna make a fucking living at this. All right? You're not fooling anybody. You and your subscriber count, you judge. There's this whole sect of people that seem to think that your subscription count on YouTube means a goddamn thing in real life. All right? It might seem really important. You realize what you're engaging in, and I don't want to, detract from anybody, but simply because you have a high subscriber count doesn't mean you are of any worth. And now I'm starting to pick on people, and that's not right, but I'm going to do it anyway because that's just how it's done.
Please do.
But you're not going to make a living at this. I'm sick and tired of you're following a formula that you picked up from God knows where over God knows what back and God knows when. Everyone's, a pickup video. You got to do a pickup video and you should do a contest. Oh, you got to do a contest. It's very important. You should give people things even though you entertain them for free. Yeah, that's a great fucking idea. And, no one has a fucking identity anymore. No one has a story to tell. Everyone gets it in front of a fucking... I still hear all these guys all the time. It's like, when you subscribe, I could be a partner, and you're a fucking idiot, bro. I'm sorry. No one's gonna advertise with Kyle Y12649. All right. No one gives a shit. No one cares. But even so, even if people did care, just imagine somewhere there's a kooky place where people care. Have a fucking point of view.
Yes.
There's so many people whose channels are completely dedicated to agreeing with someone else.
Oh no.
And I've also grown sick and fucking tired of videos that you tell right in the beginning who your influences are, and they're just some jack off. No one cares. Go get a fucking identity. Go get a fucking personality. And quit.
Yeah.
And no one thinks it's clever that you're using Castlevania music from the NES right underneath your vocal track. No one is impressed.
Nope.
So
Oh, man.
YELLKAOS of the Hate-Bit Podcast, I'm about to lose an ass ton of subscribers right here on YouTube. It had to be said. I'm sick and fucking tired of it. Get it. If you can't get a set of fucking balls, at least go sit in a corner and grow a personality. Thank you.
Yeah.
I am the mighty YELLKAOS.
Yeah. Come on, give him a clap. Give him a clap. It's about fucking
Clap,
time.
clap,
Did
clap,
some-
clap,
Why are you giving me the clap?
Yeah, we're giving you the clap. You better
Stop giving me
fucking
the clap.
Because he doesn't clean. No, so that, yeah, absolutely, 100% agree. And one of the things here's your rule of thumb. If you're thinking about getting into YouTube and you're inspired by someone on YouTube, don't do it. Okay? That's my rule of thumb. If you're inspired by someone on YouTube, then all you're doing is you are furthering the echo chamber effect, basically.
Absolutely, and it's I find it much in line with, I got out of heavy metal. I got out of playing heavy metal semi-professionally, because there's not really any money to it. You know that, Razor Fist.
Absolutely.
There's no, especially where we are, the Western United States, there's no money to be fucking made from here. If you don't have music that goes well that comes out of a fucking iPod, no one wants to hear from you. So, I came to YouTube. And what did I find? The same exact group of jackoffs. They're just all different, who think somehow they're going to make a living by making faces on YouTube.
Well, everybody automatically thinks that as soon as you put up a video on YouTube and you have what, one advert on your fucking video, you think you're going to make it a career. Well, here's a newsflash, folks. It's not a career. It's not a viable career option. It never will be a viable career option. And if you want it to be a viable career option, you need to get your channel to the levels of Ray William Johnson or some other fucking YouTube sellout that nobody gives a flying toss about.
Yep. There are very specific things that you have to do in order to make a career on YouTube, and invariably
you have to not talk about video games.
Invariably, the common bond between all of those things is that you have to be a bleeding cunt. All right, that's basically the long and short of it. You have to sell your soul. You have to have deceptive thumbnails on all your videos, and you have to talk about what Paris Hilton wore to the Oscars. Like, it's just you have to your soul has to excuse itself and leave the fucking room.
No, tell me, Razorfist, do you mean bleeding from menstruation or bleeding from injury?
No, I was talking bleating, actually, as in sheep.
Oh, bleating. Oh, damn. I was hoping I got all my hopes up. I'm terribly sorry.
No. Poor Chaos. No,
But,
there's one thing I don't understand is what everybody expects that they're going to get a partnership as soon as they hit a certain number of subscribers. Well, here's another piece of news. It doesn't happen as simply as that. And those people that go on to Machinima or TGS or whatever they want to fucking go on, you still got a quota of videos to make. And if you're not an interesting son of a bitch, then you're not going to make anything.
Yeah, my best advice that I can give, and I think all of us can give, is if you want to make a living on YouTube, don't.
Yes.
Here's an idea. If you want to make a living on YouTube, go out and get a fucking job.
For lack of better terminology, this is like an art form. I'm not going to sit here in front of you people and suggest that what I or any of us do is art. But you have to love it. You have to die for it, because otherwise you're just plain not here.
The way
You wonder why your favorite YouTube personalities don't come around as often as they do? Why? They're fucking over it. They too thought that they were going to make $1 million, and it isn't true at all.
Nope, it's not true. That's just it. If you want to get on YouTube and you want to do something, do it for yourself. Period. Do it for your
Absolutely.
own enjoyment. And if people want to come along for the ride, that's cool. You know what I mean? Like it'll be nice. Maybe you'll get an audience. Maybe you'll have a little bit of extra money. Maybe you'll have enough to buy a Big Mac. You know what I mean? But don't expect this wellspring of cash to come out of the ground, because that ain't how it works. And it's at the end of the day, you just have to be in it for your own satisfaction, and you need to lift the finger to anybody who's not cool with that, because it is for you at the end of the day.
Yeah. You know, the one thing, like, I haven't said a lot, but the one thing that I get asked a bunch, which I think is a preposterous question, is how can I get famous? And I don't know how to answer that because I'm not famous.
Well,
I'm a
ask
dude
most
on.
of the people who are famous. It usually involves taking something in your ass on camera.
Well, here's the thing. It's look, if you just want to go onto YouTube making video game videos and you're thinking that you're going to get famous, you're really not. Okay, James Rolfe is a Blue Moon type of situation. Okay, he did something that nobody thought up, and everybody else that's going to do it afterwards is just going to live in a shadow.
Yep.
Okay, and we already have talked about that time and again. And Razor Fist is 100% correct. And when he says, do it for yourself, do it because you like doing it, you should. Are you passionate about games? Do you have an opinion? Do you want to talk about them? Do you want to review them? Do you want to preview them? Do you want to say something? Do you want to show off art? Do you want to show off music? Whatever the fuck it is that you want to do, you ought to do it because you want to, not because you want like an endless sea of fucking drones saying, you know, patting you on your ass and telling you good job. Do it because you like doing this shit. That's like with music. Don't go into it just because you want to make a career out of it and be fucking famous. Do it because you love fucking music. Quit thinking that you're going to become a multi-millionaire and have a fucking gigantic mansion from doing something that's relatively easy because it's in the entertainment field, and do it because you're goddamn fucking into it and because you're passionate about it. That's my best fucking advice.
Yeah, and also make sure you have a fucking reality check, because realize that most of the people you know for being famous died at a young age because they got burned out and put a fucking gun in their mouth.
YouTube is a form of expression. That's all it is.
Sure.
Like music is a form of expression. Like art is, that's a form of expression.
Yeah,
That's all it's going to be. If you make a couple of dollars from it, then that's fine. But don't expect it to be a fucking career. That's what most YouTubers think. You know, think that it's all about. You know, you see. I'm going to bring Acer into this in a way. He reviews reviewers. Half of these reviewers think that exact same thing. You know, they think, yeah, I'm on YouTube. I'm going to make $1. Yeah.
Yeah.
For what?
And more than that, they think they are entitled to making a living off that too. And that's an even more pernicious character flaw that so many of these people have. It's like they think they are entitled to a living. Jay Freedan. But
look, and you want to know what? It's seriously, if trust me when I say this, everybody. If you're into what you're talking about and you are passionate about it, then doing this is pretty much like the best form of payment. And that may sound cheesy to somebody, but it's the fucking truth. You know, at the end of the day, like, okay, this podcast.
Getting the feedback from your fans or having people actually enjoy it is you know, that's part of the reward, but really it's just the satisfaction that you take in actually completing something that you're proud of and that you can laugh at or that you can enjoy, like at the end of the day. Like, I make jokes in my videos that not one of my subscribers are going to understand because it's purely for me. You know what I mean? Like, and not all the time, but, you know, like every now and then I'll do something indulgent, you know, like that. Because at the end of the day, it's its own reward.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff about, like, being on here and doing stuff that is fucking awesome. But if you go into it just wanting to fucking, like, I'm going to be famous, you're doing it for all the wrong reasons. I've been doing this shit for around 4 years now. And I didn't start off because I was like, I'm going to become famous. I was scared shitless to be in front of a camera because I knew that the internet would eat me alive. And I just said, fuck it, because my balls are bigger than all of that, and I already have enough pride in myself and enough confidence to not give a shit.
It's true. His balls do clank when he walks.
Fucking right they do. And they clank hard enough I could knock a motherfucker out with them. But the thing
By the
is,
way,
are you kidding me? He needs spotters to get into his jeans.
No, serious shit. I'm getting him a wheelbarrow for Christmas.
I can't. It's gotta be all black though. Maybe with like.
It is all black.
skulls
Don't
on
worry,
it.
it's anodized just for
But
you.
like this podcast, whenever the initial idea came up with it, it wasn't. We didn't sit around going, "Oh man, we'll be super famous." No, we were just like, wow, we all get along pretty fucking well. We got some good fucking chemistry. Let's make this shit happen. Whereas there's people that want to make a podcast because they're just like, I want everybody to know my name. No, if nobody knows your name, who the fuck cares? If everybody knows your name, who fucking cares? Just be happy that you're doing something that you enjoy. I'm fucking borderline repeating myself, but I can't help it because it's something I fucking feel strongly about. So, yeah, there.
Absolutely.
No, yeah, exactly.
And if everybody knows your name, you must be at Cheers. So
I just got done watching Frasier, too, speaking of that. But,
yeah, there you go. That's a good one, too. So... Wow, I got real dark, and then you brought up Frasier. This has been a hell of a podcast.
right, dude. Kelsey Grammer's the man. Him and his coke habit.
Tossed salads and scrambled eggs, man.
That's right,
Yeah.
and not to mention his safe driving tips.
Oh,
So,
dude, you know what's fucked up? Just real quick, did you know that he sings that fucking theme?
Yes, I did.
I didn't know that until just recently. That blew my fucking brain. I was like, whoa, Kelsey Grammer with the fucking pipes. Go you.
There you go. Oh man, now they're gonna have a whole totally different view of the Hate-Bit podcast. But the lesson here is, no matter what, in what avenue of your life, be yourself, and you'll be happy.
Exactly.
And if you can't be happy, then be yourself and piss off a bunch of people. If that's what you do, I was gonna do Godspeed, but I'm like, I'll get in trouble if I do that one.
You'll get slapped with copy.
I know. I stopped myself.
No. The perfect that's the perfect point. You do the reading rainbow thing, but don't take my word for it. Dude. Come on.
There you go. That was it. You know what? It happened. You spent a perfectly good batch of time listening to the Hate-Bit podcast. We thank you for joining us. A lot happened this week, and we hope a lot happens this coming week because, we're heading right there into the holiday season. A lot of big games coming out. There's going to be a lot of fun, so please stay with us each and every week. I'm YELLKAOS. With me, as always, has been Alpha Omega Sin.
And always remember, be yourself, be happy. If nobody likes it, fuck their grandparents. Both of them. Seriously, it'll teach them a lesson they'll never forget.
Sainted Magnus.
Yep, it's been another swell week. I'm using an old word from America there, swell. So we shall see you all next week. You know what? Fuck it. I can't be bothered anymore. See ya.
And the ravishing Razor Fist.
I think we should. I don't know. Let's rapidly push the action button and end this episode with a fervent god fucking speed.
Ooh.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fist. And once again, the revolution begins with you. I'm YELLKAOS. If I haven't said it already, I'm terribly sorry. But you guys have been great, and we have been the Hate-Bit podcast. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Blow it out your ass.
Yeah.